LA. Jones goes for Conchar. High archer. Jared Jackson Jr. on a major racket.
We'll have to check out if he comes to the next Bucks game.
Giannis gets the whistle, lays it in. The Milwaukee Bucks make it 15 straight wins. 118-104.
This is Bettor Sports Live with Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla on Bettor Sports.
That's right. Here we are. It is Wednesday night. That means it is time for me and Rick Kamla for the next 3 hours right here. Bettor Sports Live on the Bettor Sports Network. I would like to thank the Bucks and TNT for that little clip. Rick Kamla, lots going on out there, but I got to start with saying hello and how are you today?
Well, I couldn't be better, LA. And because I'm so happy to be back on the air with you here on Bettor Sports Network and so happy for baseball season. We got some really good NBA games coming up tonight. So check out the color scheme here. I've got a blue polo on with the orange logo. So when you see that combo right there, LA, when you see that blue and orange, where does that take you? This combo right here.
It takes me to the New York Knicks.
Or a team near and dear to your heart in baseball.
Oh, the Mets. So thank you, producer. I was like, where are we going here? I don't always picture the blue as the dominant color with the orange, but okay, now I get it. Yes, my New York Mets, who have spent all of the money, and we sure don't know how that's going to work out. They have made it rain on the offseason like nobody could do better at Magic City. I know we've got games here in the NBA. I know we got NBA injuries that are really making a difference, especially for the team, the Los Angeles Lakers, who need to make a run right now. Now you got AD, who I know you have in a fantasy basketball team, who I knew you were excited to draft, who I know I made fun of you because of how often he gets injured. And now anytime I hear Anthony Davis is out for any period of time, I'm like, oh, poor Rick Kamla. He's got him on a team.
Thank you. LA, I hope to have a real big story to tell. I hope to have a very, very big fish story to tell. Perhaps thanks to Anthony Davis. We've talked about this. I'm in a 30-team league. I'm in a 30-team dynasty league, but that's not what I'm talking about. This is a 30-team league. It's a redraft league with like some of the biggest minds. It's 30 studs or studettes in this business, right? And so I've been in this league, I don't know, 15 years. LA, I pretty much always make the playoffs. I think I've missed the playoffs like once. Like I'm in the playoffs every year, okay? I haven't won it yet, okay? And why haven't I won it? Because my teams implode due to injury. Well, the injuries hit me, LA, earlier in the season, and now I'm healthy. LA, when my team was healthy before they broke down, I was breaking the league. I'm telling you, 30-team league, I was breaking it. The power ratings, I was on top. I had like an 8 or 9 game lead over the next best team, and boosh, injuries hit me, and here I am. I barely made the playoffs, but I'm real dangerous, LA. And now I have Anthony Davis without LeBron James, fully activated, and so hopefully he and Donovan Mitchell, hopefully I can get Kyle Lowry back, and he give me some goodies, and we can go ahead and win this chip.
But you got Anthony Davis, who's out with a foot situation right now. How long is this going to last? We don't know. LeBron looks like another 2 weeks. This is an opportunity for AD to take advantage of, but will he? He is out tonight.
So I don't like the DNP tonight. I don't think he's hurt. I think it's a rest game. I think it's...
no. There's a foot situation going on that is being further looked into tomorrow that is just arisen that I caught the news about, I don't know, like 4:45, right? You might have been, you're between your shows. Let me look it up for you.
LA, deep in prep. So hit me with this. I'm about to be, this felt like a rest game because I knew Davis wasn't playing tonight. Back-to-back scenario at OKC. We can probably beat them without Davis because they don't have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm bracing for some bad news here. Hopefully.
It is foot discomfort at this current time. It is going to be looked into further tomorrow, but we know foot discomfort is nothing compared to Ricky's props, which we should probably get into right now, Rick, because some of these games got an early start, if I'm not mistaken, right? We got let's see, we got some of these earlier games. Yeah, 7:30 games. Let's give it to the people right now. We got nobody in the chat. We know they're going to be joining us. We love to see everybody come in here, but it's a good time for Ricky's props. I love this segment so much. So I'm going to go to the first one that you sent over. Tyler Hero versus Philadelphia over 27.5 combo. So we got the points, rebounds, and assists. The number is -115. Can you explain why you feel so strongly about Tyler Hero this evening?
I would be happy to, LA, because we're getting value here. We're getting quite a bit of it, actually. 27.5 PRA. On the season, he's at 30.5. So we're 3 off here. In the last game against Philadelphia, it just happened a couple of nights ago. He had 13 combo points, rebounds, and assists. Awful, dreadful game for Tyler Hero. That was up in Philly. This is back in Miami. We have a bounce back factor in play, LA, which I like. We also have the fact that we got a baseball series, a home and home. Actually, it's not a baseball series. It's a home and home. But when two teams play games back to back like this, the second game does not look like the first game. So I think that's going to apply here to Tyler Hero. He's been over this PRA number in 6 of the last 10. James Harden will be guarding him a lot tonight. Okay. Advantage Hero. And I believe, LA, that the optics on this game tonight will be Tyler Hero, bunny hopping around that court down in Miami like a rabbit, man. I think he's going to have a big one.
All right, I like this a lot. Tyler Hero versus Philadelphia. Everybody, you heard it here first on Ricky Props. That's over 27.5 combo with the points, rebounds, and assists. Let's go to this second one right here. Donovan Mitchell at Boston, over 25.5 points. The number is -135. You're looking for a big game for Mr. Donovan Mitchell.
From Big Game Don. And this is what he does. LA, this year, he is averaging 33 points per game against Boston, the best team in the league, in my opinion, in 2 games. Okay, why? How? Certainly not matchup. It's a very tough matchup with Boston. They got Brown, they got Smart, they got all kinds of guys that can defend and make life tough. This is Big Game Don. This is what he does. When Cleveland plays Boston, it's probably bigger for Cleveland than it is for Boston, but it's a big old game. I mean, it's the ESPN 7:30 game tonight. So he rises in big games. He's averaging 27.2 on the road this year, almost 2 over our number tonight. And he's been over this number in 4 of the last 6. So I say to the people, bang on Big Game Don tonight.
I like it. I like it a lot. These are looking good so far, so good. I'm feeling the moment here. Malik Beasley at Oklahoma City, under 25.5 combo points, rebounds, and assists, -110 for this combo with Malik Beasley.
So he's been over this number once in 6 games as a Laker. Once. And I get it. Those are games with LeBron. Those are games with Davis. Let's do the math. We got to get to 26 tonight, right? To hit the over on this.
Yep.
In his LA games where we've had some LeBron, we've had some Davis, we haven't had them. It's just kind of the amalgam of the games. He's at 18. He's at 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. And yes, I'm rounding up. He's at 18, 7.5 off. So, all right, no Davis tonight, no LeBron. So he's going to billow by 7.5 across these 3 categories. That is a leap of faith that I'm not willing to make here. And so I'll go under on this. Malik Beasley, he's in the league because he's a laser. He shoots threes and he's very, very good at it. And so he scores and he hits threes. Well, threes don't matter here. They do in your fantasy leagues. And he's not really a goodie guy. He's not a steal guy. He's like 2-3 rebounds a game, 1 or 2 assists per game. And so we need rebounds and assists to go over here. All of that collides LA to an under here on Malik Beasley at 25.5 PRA.
I like it. I like it. I like it. You got 2 more here. This is Ricky's Props, a segment that we do every Wednesday night, letting you get some action in on tonight's NBA slate. We recap these. We go back through the second and the third hour, see how Rick's doing. There's usually an emotional downturn during the second hour. A little struggle bus happening. In the third hour, there seems to be an uptick of confidence. It's really a roller coaster when you get involved in these props. Don't you agree? You see a player go in the locker room, what's going on? Then he comes back out. You're like, he needs one more point. Guess what? He gets 1 more point. Next one you've got here is Mikal Bridges at New York, under 28.5 for the combo points, rebounds, and assists. -105 is the number.
LA, this one is very interesting because I went into this statistical dive on Bridges thinking over. Okay. I literally went in thinking over. And after doing the math, I was like, I got to go under on this. He's been over this number in 4 of 6 games with the Nets. Okay. So why are we going under tonight? Bridges struggles with the Knicks because of Quentin Grimes and Josh Hart. They are wings who are dogs and get up into a guy like Mikal Bridges. They match up very well with him. In 3 games against New York this year, LA, Mikal Bridges is at 10, 5, and 4 points, rebounds, assists. That equals 19. All right. Our number's 28.5 tonight. And I have a bonus just to throw out there to the people. I haven't looked at this line in the last, a few hours, but I do like the Knicks tonight, LA, to blow out the Nets. And this morning when I saw the line, it was at 7.5. So I think this is going to be a blowout, and Bridges won't even play enough minutes to hit the over on this.
And we've got one more here to wrap up Rookie Props. We got Cole Anthony at Milwaukee, over 15.5 combo. That's the points, rebounds, and assists. -125 is the number.
How dare they disparage my guy Cole Anthony with such a paltry low number? 15.5 combination points. Come on. It's -125. There's action to the over here. He's been over this number in 4 of the last 5. Going 7, 17, 23, 17, 24, living way over this number the last 4 games. In February, his points, rebounds, and assists is 19, well over this number. And LA, I think the reason his number is so small tonight is the odds makers looked at his first meeting against Milwaukee, and they saw an 0 for 9 shooting performance from Cole Anthony, which is obviously dreadful. But we have a bounce back factor here, okay? I don't think this game is going to look like that first game because that's just not how it goes. So we got a lot of over trends here. We also have this sort of law of averages and the what goes around comes around trend working in a boomerang effect for us here, also with Cole Anthony. So we're going there, LA, confidently.
I like it. Anybody who missed these, we're going to make sure we tweet them out. We've got Tyler Hero over 27.5 combo. Donovan Mitchell at Boston over 25.5 points. Malik Beasley under 25.5 combo. Bridges under 28.5 combo. And Cole Anthony at Milwaukee over 15.5. So I have to ask you, I know you've been doing NBA radio today. KD gets on the court tonight. How's it going to look to you? And how do you feel about this transition going for the rest of the season out there in the West?
Well, I'm pretty geeked about this whole storyline, LA. I think it's a real buzzkill for Denver Nugget fans because they kind of sort of had the West figured out and solved and checkmate and all that. And now Durant is on the Suns. And now I think the Suns are going to win the West. The game just tipped off here between Charlotte and Phoenix. And we don't have a point on the board yet. I mean, literally, we're a minute and a half in. So, I'll be watching this one, giving you updates on this. But what I look for, LA, is Kevin Durant to be a little bit deferential here at the beginning. He's not a power alpha. He's how should I say this? He's just a different alpha. He's like a laid back alpha. You know what I'm saying, LA? Like he's an alpha, but he's not like a Russell Westbrook alpha or a LeBron alpha.
Or even like a Kyrie alpha who continues to take the last shot when he's not on a heater. I love this combo in Dallas. It could really work. And his presser afterwards was like, he needs to remember that he's got options there, right? Don't take that last shot if you haven't made a 3-pointer all night long. Like that is driving me crazy about what he's doing down there in Dallas.
Yeah, and they're not defending. That's been a huge issue. They're giving up 122 in the 5 games where Kyrie and Luka have played. You're not going to win that way. The only game they've won is against San Antonio, and the Spurs hit them with 116. The Spurs, okay? By the way, Durant is on the board with the Phoenix Suns. He had a layup off the left side of the backboard.
Here we go
on the board. Here we go, LA.
Here we go.
Do you think Phoenix is winning the West with Kevin Durant? That is the question that the people want to hear. They know my opinion on this. Is Durant, Booker, Paul, and Ayton, are they going to win the West and go to the finals, LA?
I think I need to go to a Phoenix Suns game at home because I seem to have this fondness now for, Rocky, the mascot in Denver, the arena that I just got to visit last month. And I have this infinity for, seeing the Nuggets go further, but I feel you. And I am going to check out arena I have not visited yet. Tomorrow night in Miami, I will be going to a Predators-Panthers game. Got seats on the glass. So I'm going to be getting hockey in my face tomorrow night.
You said the Predators and the Panthers?
Yep.
So you're flying down to Florida, or you're flying down to Nashville. Where are you going?
Flying down to Florida. I'm going to Miami tomorrow. I will be there till Sunday morning. I'm back here for a day. Then I go to Bahamas for 4 days. Then I'm back here for 4 days. Then I go to Vegas for 6 days for March Madness, which is going to be absolutely nuts. But so I have this fondness, but if if the next 2 games of Durant really looks like him, even though he hasn't been playing, from what I've been hearing, listening to Woj and listening to a lot of different NBA analysts talk about the fact that Kevin Durant has been getting in work with the team, has been building that chemistry, has been slow rolling it to getting out there tonight. This could be magic for the Suns, and it could be really upsetting for the Nuggets opportunity.
So Durant just blocked a shot on one end and then came back, and Charlotte left him wide open on the left wing. And so Booker went across the court. Kevin Durant went splooge and hit the shot. And so they're already off. It's 7-0 Phoenix, okay? Like, a mauling is about to happen in Charlotte right now. They're going to have to call in the National Guard to stop this mess.
Yeah, I mean, look, I look at this and think this is the perfect game for him to come back, because the stat line that he can put up against Charlotte is going to be such a good look. It's a smart move. It's a confidence builder, right? He's going to go in there. They're going to be looking fly. They look really excited to have him. And then we're going to see, I mean, please, Charlotte, put up a point. I mean, you cannot let this go 15, 20 points and you still got a donut up there. That's horrible. You can't do that. This is the NBA.
And another run-out bucket here for the Suns, LA. 9-0 Phoenix, timeout Charlotte, and the route is on. That's why I was telling Fensty and Ronas when I went on with them, I would go under on props tonight. The whole thing is a stay away from me, other than to watch the game and watch Durant first game as a Sun. But I'm not attacking this game ATS. The line was like 10. First game together, I mean, they're looking good on that right now. But yeah, Charlotte shorthanded. KD is there. This was not a prop bet game. This was not a prop bet game, as I saw.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's a stay away. You want to see how it all flows and kind of moves together. We do have a guest coming up at 7:30 that's going to continue this NBA conversation. We got Dan Titus joining us, lead fantasy analyst for the Hoops for Yahoo. So now I got to ask you this: how much of a setback is LeBron's injury for the Lakers at a timely fashion, where you had said, like, Lisa, they got to go like 18-5. They can only lose a couple of games the rest of the season. Is this a game changer for you, especially with AD? Like, look, I just don't think it's not load management. You're not using load management when LeBron is not playing. You just can't do that to the Lakers in the spot that they're in. And if you last week, they were really starting to look like, okay, the Lakers are back, right? Weren't they looking super good?
I was really liking what they're doing, for sure. And obviously with a healthy LeBron, with a healthy Davis, I think there's quite a bit of upside now that they've added all these fortifications. The problem is, honestly, and I don't mean to single out a dude, but I mean, it's not his fault. It's D'Angelo Russell, and he's got an ankle injury right now. And he got hurt before LeBron got hurt.
Yeah.
And he's not going to play tonight. If D'Angelo Russell were right, okay, like I think, I mean, it's LeBron, right? But I think they could hang in there, okay? But if you don't have LeBron, you don't have Russell, you don't have Davis, okay? They're done. They're super done. Now, the Davis thing, so it sounds like we disagree a little bit on this. And I definitely have a needed pro Davis bias going on here. I don't want to believe that his foot is barking at him, because I want to go win this championship.
I see you holding on to hope, Rick. I see you thinking about your fantasy basketball team. I see you going, no, I will not accept the truth that Anthony Davis is, can we use the term injury prone, or gets injured a lot? I know you don't admit it. I get it. And you are looking at it like, no, LeBron, this is the perfect opportunity for Anthony Davis on my fantasy basketball squad to be stacking my stat line and helping me through the later part of this season. And I want to be here for you as a friend, as your co-host, as somebody you can lean on. But at the same time, I'm not going to fill your glass with false hope, buddy.
Okay, so
can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not here for it.
In my opinion, you're hilarious. We actually, I believe, have this is a load management game. I'm looking at some of the reporting on this. Let's see here. Dave McMiniman. Darvin Ham says the Lakers don't want the circumstances of winning and losing games dictate how we manage our players' health. He said Anthony Davis sitting out tonight is precautionary, and he will have some testing to clear before he plays again.
His
that
foot
sounds like
is bothering him, and they would like to test it tomorrow. Did you hear Barkley's rant the other day on load management? Tell me you didn't laugh. I laughed my ass off. I mean, there's something about when Barkley says the word bums that's just so blunt, right? He's like, yeah, we're paying these bums, $80 million. It's fine. And I'm dying because he comes from a different generation of basketball.
I get my wife when I say hobo.
Okay.
Something is a hobo or like a hobo. I always get her with that. I love using the word bums, right? This guy's a bum. Get him out of here. It's hilarious. And Charles is hilarious when he says bum. He's also hilarious when he gets another round of drinks for everybody. That's absolutely hilarious.
I would also like to just interject right here. We have a scoring update. Charlotte has put 2 points on the board. It is now 11-2. Phoenix, game one of having Kevin Durant out there on the court, and they're feeling themselves. 5 points for Charlotte. The comeback hit Israel.
Gordon Hayward just splashed a 3-ball, and here they come. CLT. Is that the flight acronym for Charlotte? Is that what the hell?
It's the airport.
It
is the airport code,
right?
Yes, I went through a phase where I memerized all of the airport codes many years ago.
Why did you do?
It just made it easier for traveling. You know what I mean? It just, I was, there was an app when we first started to get apps, and I was like, "Ooh, airport code app! Like I like that." It was like a ticker. You could just put in cities. I'm like, "Oh, I wonder what this airport." So I memorized them. Useless information always swirling around in here, but. Yeah, I think this is going to make a bit more of a challenge, but Denver's healthy right now as well. So they have that working for them. Phoenix, this is exactly the missing link. And I think Durant's going to go out there and make a heyday.
Oh, yeah, he is. I think they're going to win the West, and I think they're going to lose to Boston. But again, at least a day or two ago or today, plus 235 on the Suns to win the West. Guys, get in on this now before Phoenix rips off 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row with Kevin Durant or whatever winning they do, and then the odds shift a little bit. Like they're not going to get better. They're only going to get worse. Now that Kevin Durant is playing in this uniform and we can see it and visualize it, you know how that impacts bettors. A lot of times bettors are attracted to shiny, attractive things. LA, you know this. And so be in on it now and then ride the wave. And then you'll be able to snicker at all the Nuggets fans when the Suns beat them in the West Finals. And
I see that you still look as if you are trying to find some good news on Anthony Davis.
I have more. I have more. LA. This is a load management game. Dan Wokey, who covers
then why is he getting testing tomorrow, Rick?
That part is, I don't really have an answer to that other than maybe that's like hot sauce on a rest game. When
you keep reading, I'm going to greet everybody that has joined us in the chat. Wolf Den in here. He says, I'd be shocked if Donovan Mitchell doesn't go over. He's killed the Celtics. I like that bet. If you want to see Ricky's props, I just retweeted them on Twitter.
Here we go. Let me do that too.
They are all listed right there at Bettor Network. So you can go right there and make sure that you have everything going. Bettor Boss in the room said he was listening with the kid in the tub. He used an emoji. Bettor Boss, you're the greatest ever. Bettor Boss posted a photo of his cat the other day, made me very happy. He's sharing himself a little bit on social media, and it is hitting me right here, Matt. You're the best ever. Scott's really excited that I'm going to a hockey game. I didn't go to a hockey game last season. I used to go more in LA. I haven't gone, went to a couple here. And so when I had this trip to Miami planned, I'm speaking at a conference on Saturday. So like I was going to go in on Friday, but then you know me, I got to tool around and be like, what games are in town? Okay, there's a Heat game, but it conflicts with the mixer that we have to do on Friday evening. And I don't want to bow out of a responsibility when I'm networking with some really important and intelligent people. So that I was like, well, maybe I just go in a day early, take a day off. Tomorrow's my first day off since I've traveled. I'll go in, I'll get in some sun at the pool. I've got a book I'm going to dive into. And then a friend of mine, we're going to go to the game. And I can't wait. I love to see a new arena. And hockey is so awesome in person. And being at the Glass is the most exciting space to be.
I have never been at the Glass for a hockey game. And so you're going to get the and all that kind of stuff as they get cracked into the boards. By the way, Charlotte's back to making this a 1-point game. It is 17-16. Look at the plucky little Charlotte Hornets saying, you can't come in here and Kevin Durant us. LA, I am very impressed you're going to a hockey game. I'm also jealous you're going to a hockey game. I really like the sport of hockey. Live hockey is incredible.
It's the best.
I did see one Panthers game. I forget who they played. It was a million years ago. I don't even, the Lightning might not have even have been a thing. It was like back in the 90s. And so maybe they've even changed arenas since then. LA, I don't know hockey history that way, but I did see the Panthers play one time. Drifty memories, whether they won or lost, but you are going to have a blast, and you should get a good game because there's a lot of offense on Florida. There's a lot of offense on Nashville. I'm trying to think of goaltending. Pretty good goaltending, but I think you're going to get a good hockey game. I really do.
And Nashville just moved a couple of pieces this week as well. I did a little homework on what I'm looking at in these teams. So Nashville made some moves Monday and Tuesday, brought in some better players, shipped it out some other players. So I'm going to get to see some of the news in the suit, right? Some of the new players that have moved from Ottawa. They made some moves. So this is going to be exciting. But yeah, hockey, I'll be checking on the NBA scores.
Do you have a team? Do you have a hockey team?
I do not. And so this would be something that I would have to decide if I'm going to pick a team. I normally have a purpose when I pick a team. So I have to go to enough games at different arenas and decide. Of course, it should be a New York team so I can go more often, right?
I was going to say, like, the Rangers are a big deal. They just traded for Patrick Kane. They're in the championship fast lane with Shesterkin. Yeah. Like, why don't you just plug into that Ranger thing, LA?
It makes a hell of a lot of sense. And going to Rangers games, Adam Ronis and I have gone to quite a few Rangers games. It makes a hell of a lot of sense. But what hockey is so different too is the music. You like the music too, right? Because it's
hard rock, heavy metal, for sure.
It's totally different than NBA, right? Totally different. Like, I don't know if you know this, but in Denver, they have a full-time DJ at that arena. Plays the whole game like a DJ. You know what I mean? Like, I followed him on social media. We were DMing I was making requests for my seat. I was like, hey.
Stop it. Stop it. Just stop the show. Are you serious?
Yes.
You were texting the DJ at Ball Arena to play.
Just DMing. Yeah.
And did he play the tunes
you
wanted him to play? Of
course he did. And he also
what tunes did you want him to play? This is amazing.
I can't remember. That was a whole month and like 17 flights ago. But I know my friend and I had a vibe. And I'm like, let's see how long it takes once I follow him for him to realize I follow him and for him to message me while he's working. Let's just time this whole thing out. It's always a fun game.
And I bet you the DJ did not want to rock Rocky Mountain High by John Denver. I bet he didn't want to go there. So
it's all hip hop at the NBA games. We're playing some good stuff. Scott says I should jump on the Rangers bandwagon right now. Will I seem like a bandwagon fan, or will I see legit is the question.
No. Nobody is going to challenge you, LA. If you want to hop on the Ranger bandwagon, Boomer Esiason and Ranger Nation would be like, come on in, LA. Come on in for a big hug. Trust me.
Okay.
But you think they're gonna bandwagon shame the great Lisa Ann? Come on, LA. Come on. If Drake can plug in front run with every team that's about to win a championship, you can plug into the Rangers.
By the way,
go for it.
You mentioned Drake. Drake put 400 G on Jake Paul to win the fight last weekend.
Good thing he makes 400 G every time he takes the stage, because that
when Jake Paul was asked about it, because Jake Paul did not win that fight. It was decided. I do not like when fights go into decision. It's such a bummer.
Because then chicanery can take place.
They're still standing. Like, just add another round. Look, Jake Paul's a much better boxer than people think he would be. He hasn't taken on a lot of really big opponents, but this was an opponent. The weigh-in was great. The smack talk was insane. So when Jake was interviewed afterwards, he didn't even look beat up at all. Like, he was really, jovial. And so he knows that Drake has always bet on him. So he's like, look, the Drake 400 G that he lost is money that he made on the other fights that I've won. This is Jake's first loss. He had been undefeated up until this point. But it's kind of like that penalty call the last 2 minutes of the Super Bowl. I can't stop talking about it with people. Every time I see somebody I haven't seen since the Super Bowl, I'm like, emotionally, how do you feel about that? You feel like you feel good? You feel like we're so invested in this game and that's how it ends? I feel the same way about decision in boxing.
Well, and did you see the note that came out a day or two ago that the field at the Super Bowl that you were very up in arms about was overwatered, according to the sod father?
Did I see the note? I saved the note in my phone last night, my news reading. The Podfather
I knew you
has
would.
come
I
out.
thought of you when I saw it. I'm like, this is LA's jam right here. The soggy field of the Super Bowl.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to continue the soggy field conversation when we get back after we talk NBA with Dan Titus, who is joining us. But first, I want to remind you all about this trivia. So this is a pretty simple thing that I didn't really catch on to week 1 of the trivia. Very easy. All you got to do is tap the app, and the multiple choice questions, the question is there, but the multiple choice answers are going to be there. I know you all got this. A question is coming to you, and when we get back, we're going to have a ton of answers in the NBA. The first thing I'm asking Dan Titus is about Anthony Davis, and you better be sure of that, Rick Kamla. You're listening to Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla on Bettor Sports Live on the Bettor Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern.
People are always very critical when it comes to fantasy baseball. I would say this, and I'm a big fantasy basketball guy. I love fantasy football. There's no fantasy sport that's even close to being as hard as baseball. The season, having to figure out, especially if you're playing weekly, which I don't like to play. Weekly with the 2 starts, having to look at the schedule and everything. Bro, I mean, you play in basketball as well. There's no fantasy sport that's harder or more involved than baseball. It takes forever. You take a whole night to do your fab on Sundays.
Yeah, baseball is the most challenging, and I think that's why the popularity has gone down. People don't want to work. They don't want to put in the time. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it. You have to know the player pool. That's why I love doing these 15-team, 50-round drafts. I mean, 750, 800 players. You go to all the minor leaguers. I took Spencer Strider last year in my first draft Champions League in like round 40, and that turned out to be a phenomenal pick. So it puts you on to knowing everything about every team. And yeah, it's a lot of work. So I definitely think that it's a challenge, and I just feel like people don't want to put in time and work anymore. I'm not saying fantasy football is easy. It's not. But you cannot tell me that fantasy football is more difficult than fantasy baseball. I play both sports. I don't have an allegiance to either one. I love both. I play both. But, fantasy baseball is a grind, man. You got to put in months of preparation. Spring training is important. It helped me get Carlos Rodon a couple years ago. I was not on him until the spring, seeing the velocity and the changes. So there's a lot of things you can discover in the spring. And this is the first real full spring training that we've had in years. Now, there is the WBC that is going to cut into it a little bit, and some guys will not be at camp. But the spring can help you discover. And again, you're talking about, even if you're in a 12-team league, I mean, you're probably going to have 23 to 30 roster spots. And then the 15-team leagues and the minor leagues, I mean, you got to know a lot. I mean, it takes a lot of skill to win a fantasy baseball title. We've seen it, right? You can have like an average player win a fantasy football league. Like, we've all been in leagues where like, yeah, this guy's not that good. He's probably going to win a championship at some point. Things break right. He has a great draft, picks up a player off the waiver wire. That's not happening in fantasy baseball, man. You do not see bad players win fantasy baseball championships. You just don't. It's a 6-month season. You can't afford to take a week or two off from fab. You can't do it. Last year, say you took off the week where Taylor Ward was the big pickup. You lost a player that was a contributor most of the season. I know we had a couple of down periods, and Taylor Ward was a player I added in multiple leagues, but you can't take that time off. You can't afford to miss out. And, every little detail is important. So I know fantasy baseball is not as popular as it used to be, but I personally feel it's because people don't want to work hard. They just don't. Everyone wants the easy way out now. They want easy access. That's why people don't read anymore. They want a quick video. Fantasy baseball is a lot of work, trust me. But you know what? When you win a championship, it's really gratifying.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Bettor Sports Network.
Made this here with all the ice on in the booth. At the gate outside, when they pull up, they give me loose. Yeah, jump out, boys. That's Nike boys hopping our coast. This shit way too big. When we pull up, give me the loot. Give me the loot. Was off the Remy, had up at post. Had to hit my old town to duck the news. 24-hour lockdown, we made no moves. Now it's 4
And we
a.m.
are back right here, as promised. Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla on Bettor Sports Live, joined by one of the lovely people that I got to meet at FSGA in Las Vegas. That's Dan Titus. He is the lead fantasy hoops analyst for Yahoo Sports. You can follow at Dan Titus. Dan, it is great to have you with us tonight.
Lisa Ann, thank you so much for having me. And Rick, I got to say, just from my days of being a young guy playing fantasy, always been following your analysis along the way. So really great to talk to both of you. And Lisa Ann, it was great connecting with you with FSGA. I know we talked about my struggles with fantasy baseball, so I love just listening to that ad, and the grind and the effort that needs to go into fantasy baseball is just crazy. So I'm in the midst of a 15-team Roto 5x5 draft that is taking forever. So I can't wait to talk hoops here because, baseball, just not it.
Is it a slow draft?
It's a slow draft. Yeah.
I do not know. Do not. It's the worst, right? You do it different coasts as well. So like different time zones, and you like wake up in a panic, like what's happening? Is my queue still full? It grinds you for like 10 days of your life. It is such a horrible entry into the season.
100%. That's the thing. It's really the coast and the different time zones, because I hate waking up with pressure, right? Like I don't want to wake up and like, oh, you're on the clock and you only have an hour left. Like, bro, I haven't even brushed my teeth yet. I'm already worried about my queue and all this. Like, I can't do the slow drafts. I get it.
And by the way, if you went to bed early, a player could have a season-ending injury that already happened, even though the season hasn't started. And so before we get to any of this great NBA conversation, you need to help Rick out. So Rick has Anthony Davis in a 30-team fantasy basketball league that he's been in for over 15 years. He's always been the bridesmaid, never been the bride, so he hasn't won the thing yet, right?
True, facts.
So Rick feels that tonight AD being out is just a rest night. I truly believe that the pain in AD's foot is real, and it's going to get looked at tomorrow, and he's going to be sitting for longer. Dan Titus, it is up to you to break this chain right now, because Rick wants to hold on to hope, and I just want to be a friend that is honest.
I respect that. I have a little bit of optimism here. I don't think that the Lakers have mailed it in quite yet. We'll see. You never know with AD. I think this is more so about the matchup, playing against the Thunder. Maybe he just wanted to take a night off. You can't even blow in Anthony Davis's direction without him catching some kind of an injury. So I think this is about them trying to play the long game and understanding that the LeBron James injury does come with some kind of concern. But if they can hold this down, if he can hold this down with their new look with Jared Vanderbilt and Mo Bamba and Austin Reeves kind of coming on, I think that there's actually a hope that LeBron can return by the end of the season and they can kind of sneak into this play-in tournament here.
Dan, first of all, thank you for those kind words. I really appreciate that. No, I do. Going back in the day and, watching me on NBA TV and stuff like that, I appreciate that shout out and you saying that, man. So let me bounce a theory off of you. Okay. And LA, obviously chime in whenever the hell you want here. So LeBron James recently said that he was playing on an injured wheel for weeks because of where the Lakers were in the standings, and then he blows that tire. So now you're the Lakers, and so you pushed it, and I'm not mad at him. Let's go. Let's win that ring. Okay. I got a football mentality about this. If you're 75%, let's go. Let's find the floor. Okay. But LeBron pushed it and blew a tire. And so Anthony Davis, let's not forget, had a stress reaction. This is very, very complicated stuff. He's back playing, obviously, at a high level. So I think the Lakers are like, yo, we pushed it too much into the red with LeBron. He blew a tire. We don't want to do the same thing with Anthony Davis here. And damn it, if it means we're not going to make the playoffs, then it means we're not going to make the playoffs. But we're not pushing Davis into the red right now. So LA is probably a blended thing. Like, you're right in terms of I now have to be worried about back-to-backs and rest games and, like, coddling of Anthony Davis. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that this is going to be like he's going to miss the next 5 or 6 or 7 games. You know what I'm saying, Dan? So what do you think about that theory?
I respect the theory because, like, at this stage in the game, they're only 1 game back of the 10 spot. So I feel like the doomsday scenario hasn't happened yet. And for Rob Pelinka to invest so much in the trading for D'Lo, like, let's not forget D'Lo is still hurt too. I think that this is probably just more of a systematic move to say, all right, let's try to play the long game, at least in the short term, to say, all right, can we get at least the somewhat of the best players available, since LeBron's clearly not going to be there for multiple weeks. He's not going to be reassessed for 2 weeks. So they really got to pull together like the next 4 or 5 games and kind of gain a little bit of an edge on those Pelicans, who, by the way, could be getting Zion back in some short order here. So if I'm the Lakers, I'm really just looking at the bottom of the barrel here and seeing how much I need to do to stay afloat. And the Jazz, wouldn't be surprised if they start falling out of contention a little bit. The Minnesota Timberwolves, did get a good win yesterday, but I wouldn't be surprised if they also started to slip out a little bit. I mean, the back end between 9 and 12 is just so close right now that I think that they can get by if they can somehow manage to get by without LeBron. And I think that the key to that is having Anthony Davis, let's call him 70%. D'Lo will get you about 75%. I think that's enough to get them at least to that point, enough so that LeBron can get back and maybe make some last game stretch to get them to the playoffs. Because let's be honest, how much time do we have left with this Lakers experiment here? Like, Bronny's going to be coming up in age like very soon, that he'll be potentially a draft pick. LeBron's already been in the media talking about how he wants to play with his son. I don't know. There's a lot of outs here where like the window is definitely closing pretty soon on this Lakers franchise here.
I agree. And now tonight we have Kevin Durant on the court for the Suns for the first time. They're kind of wiping the floor clean right now. Scores 32-24. We had a talk earlier before you came on, Dan, about how this can really affect the Denver Nuggets, who were kind of cruising, still lacking a little bit of defense, no doubt. But how good is this for the Phoenix Suns for the rest of the season, having Kevin Durant out there?
I think it's so good. It's, with the lead that the Denver Nuggets have over the Western Conference right now, I think it's still pretty telling that the Suns are the odds-on favorite to win the Western Conference. And right now, I mean, this couldn't happen at a better time, in my opinion. They're going to have plenty of time to ramp up Kevin Durant. He's only be on a minutes restriction early on, but I think that's only going to be for the better for their chemistry, because they still are going to have depth issues once they get to the playoffs. I mean, they had to unload a lot to get Kevin Durant, but Josh Okogie's been playing very well. I think he's going to continue to be that starting, the fifth guy to start in that lineup. But I mean, KD and Chris Paul already have some chemistry from their time playing in the Olympics together. But how Booker fits in with DeAndre Ayton, this lineup is just absolutely scary. So they're going to have a solid, 15, 20 games here to kind of figure it out right before they head to the playoffs. And KD's a mercenary. So, he went to the next squad to potentially get him a championship. And to be honest, like, I think that this one might be even more loaded than that Warriors squad that he had before. The only question mark I do have is like how that depth kind of rounds out.
You mentioned Josh Okogie, Dan, and he is starting tonight for Phoenix. You probably already knew that. That was a big thing that I was going to be watching tonight, because you're playing a shorthanded Charlotte team. You've got the best core four in the NBA. Like, we're not going to be able to draw any like major conclusions out of tonight's game. And even if they were playing a great team, we wouldn't be able to do that, but especially given who they're playing. But I wanted to see who that fifth starter was going to be, and it's Josh Okogie, who I like a lot. But Dan, what I wanted to ask you is, do you already, I'm in Florida and I can't bet, Dan, and that sucks because I would have more money than I have right now, which, is like, I don't want to get into all that, but I would have more money than I have right now. Okay. And so we're in Florida. We can't bet. Do you already have money on the Phoenix Suns plus 230 to win the West? Because I would, Denver's at a plus 360. You just said it. The books are telling us the Phoenix is going to win this conference to go to the NBA Finals. And Dan, the last time I looked at this number, it was plus 235. So we're down, a nickel basically. But, what if Durant has 33 tonight, right? That might go down to plus 215 and then plus 190. So I keep telling the people now is the time to bang on the Suns to win the Western Conference. Are you with me?
I'm with you, because you don't want to get too far along when they realize that this Suns team is even better than advertised. So I think the time to bet is now while KD is still on a minutes restriction, if you're a believer in the Phoenix Suns. However, I kind of like the Denver Nuggets with longer odds here, and it's really because of the play of Nikola Jokic. I know there's a lot of discussion on whether he should be MVP or not. His brand of basketball is boring. I can't remember the last time I saw a big man, a center, accumulating triple doubles and making literally everybody on his team around him better. Like, what does Michael Porter Jr. look like without Nikola Jokic? Trust me, it's not the same. So that's a team that I think actually got better in terms of depth in the offseason. They got KCP. Bruce Brown, I think, is going to be huge for that team during the playoffs. So I think you're actually getting a nice price. The bettors are, flocking to this Phoenix Suns, new look squad. I think that actually has opened up opportunity for other teams that may actually surprise come playoff time.
Dan Titus joining us. You can follow at Dan Titus. I really thank you for that answer because I've got high hopes for the Nuggets as well. Got to go out to Ball Arena for my first time in January and absolutely loved it. I fell in love with the mascot. I'm not sure, Dan, if you know the fact that Rocky the mascot is the highest paid mascot in all of professional sports. When I say highest paid, the average mascot makes between $52,000 and $57,000 a year. Rocky makes $625,000.
I guess I'm in the wrong profession. I should have done more like the ad. I don't know. Like, I don't even know how I get in the mascot game, but that's crazy.
But can you make the half court shot with your big mascot hat on over your head one shot? Because he does it every night. And I was like, I lost my mind. I went back. I like cheered louder than anything that whole game. Let's talk about the East. Kamala and I have talked a lot about how much we're loving watching this Celtics team. What are the chances that Celtics can bump up that first spot and take Milwaukee out of it?
I think they have a great shot. I think the key to them is really keeping Robert Williams healthy. Over his last 5 games, he's kind of looked like a shell of himself. But I'm not overly concerned about that because the problem with the Celtics was, how can we keep this guy, the guy that disrupts everything defensively at the rim and also can switch to smaller guards and wing players? How do you keep him healthy? Plus, I think that it's going to be even better in crunch time when you have Malcolm Brogdon available to make some of those tough crunch moment decisions that Marcus Smart kind of struggled with last season, especially in the series finals with the Golden State Warriors. So obviously they have the firepower. Jason Tatum probably going to be in conversations for MVP for years to come. Jaylen Brown has also played phenomenally well. But I think, this team is just solid. And when I talk about depth, you got Al Horford there who can build that wall for Giannis. That's going to be huge in stopping the Bucks. And I do have my concerns about the Bucks, mainly because they haven't been able to stay healthy right now in the regular season. Chris Middleton's going to be out tonight. I'll actually talk about that. That's actually one of my best bets for the night. But this team is so dependent on Giannis and Drew Holiday bailing them out. I don't know how much this luck is going to continue because I'm worried about their depth. Pat Connaughton, how is Jay Crowder going to really fit in? Bobby Portis has been playing very well as well as Brook Lopez. But I think that the Boston Celtics have enough to not only build a wall, but really shut out the other role players of the Milwaukee Bucks when it comes down to it in a 7-game series.
So, Dan, let's keep you talking about this. Let me just add this. I was on Milwaukee to win this thing in the East. And then, the West. But like, I thought they were going to win the East. Okay, preseason prediction, maintained that prediction for a long time. Yeah. Recently, I came to the conclusion that Boston's going to beat Milwaukee. And it's because Chris Middleton is no longer a championship Robin. And that was the key to them beating Phoenix. Like, he was a total badass, okay? He's a championship Robin, cemented in history forever. Drew Holiday is now their number 2. And we all love Drew Holiday. He's a fantastic player. But when he's your 3, now you're really dangerous. And when he's your 2, I think they're going to go to the East Finals. But I don't see him beating Boston that way. So, so I wanted to lead it back to you that way. And you said you had a best play tonight. You like Orlando plus the points at Milwaukee tonight?
I actually like them first half, 5 plus 5.5. And that's mainly because Orlando surprisingly has actually been one of the best performing teams against the spread for the season. They're tied with the Knicks 19-11 against the spread on the road, but in their last 5-0. Wow. This is a very disruptive team that I think kind of gives better teams fits because of their size and their length on the perimeter. And with no Chris Middleton in the lineup, as you said, Drew Holiday is now your Robin. I think that that's actually going to be a little bit troublesome because Markelle Fultz can actually play very good defense, but then you have these, just disruptive wings in Bol Bol and Wendell Carter, people that can switch, Paolo Banchero. I think this is going to be a lot more competitive than people think. If you watch the Orlando Magic, they've been really good at playing the Boston Celtics, and I'd say that they're the same caliber of team in terms of talent base. I think the Orlando Magic are going to surprise here, at least in the first half. And they covered the 10.5 last time they played against the Bucks earlier in the season. So I do like the Magic here first half plus 5.5.
That's awesome stuff, man. That is really good stuff.
I'm going to bring it to you here in New York. So we saw the Brooklyn Nets, what we thought was going to be the most super team of all super teams. And now the Brooklyn Nets are like, what? I don't even know how you're holding on and you haven't dropped Simmons not playing. Like it is endless. How far did they fall before the end of the season? Is there anything the Nets can do to hold on to anything? Or do you just say it's done for everybody who put down a futures bet on the Brooklyn Nets for this season?
Interestingly enough, I don't think the wheels have completely fell off. And to be honest, I think that they actually got a significant haul for the type of player of Kevin Durant's caliber. And I think that they're actually just getting started. Mikal Bridges, I think, is probably one of the biggest benefactors of that trade. He actually gets a chance to be the 1A for a chance. And I don't know if that, long term, whether that's going to be sustainable or not. But this guy had all the tools and was never really unleashed. And with his efficiency and his ability to play both sides of the ball, I love him in this spot. Also, Cam Johnson was another person who's probably fourth option on, maybe even fifth option in some cases on the Phoenix Suns. I think he has a chance to really flourish too. And his ability to stretch the floor. This team has a very good collection of 3-and-D wings, which I think are actually pretty coveted across the league. And they have like literally four of the best ones. Dorian Finney-Smith, Royce O'Neal is also a very good player, can play multiple positions and guard multiple positions. Right now, they're the 6th seed. I think that they're going to make the playoffs. Whether they're a first-round exit, that's possible. But I think once this team gets a little bit more chemistry, they're actually going to be I think they're going to be a little bit disruptive here. They have a chance to really upset a team like the Miami Heat. You mentioned the Knicks before. That's another team that I'm actually surprised that I'm getting on the bandwagon for, because I think that their defensive ability with Mitchell Robinson back, and now you add Josh Hart, they're going to surprise some people. So I think we could see some of these top echelon teams. Unfortunately, I was a Sixers truther at the beginning of the season. I had them winning the Eastern Conference. I'm worried because teams like the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks could actually surprise here in the playoffs.
Dan and Lisa Ann, I've been good. I've gone with the flow. We've talked basketball. And now I want to take the opportunity.
Good? What are you doing? What are you talking about?
I've been a good boy over here.
Yes.
Okay, I've waited my turn.
Are you going to baseball here?
And now, yes. And now what I'm going to do,
we're in denial.
I'm out.
I'm not going to, deep dive into my rankings and stuff. I'm just going to tell you that you guys are dead wrong about a slow draft. I want to sink your battleships about this right now. Booge, I'm sinking your battleships. You guys are so wrong about this. You can't have a bad draft pick in a slow draft. There's no tick-tock. You got a minute, 45 seconds where you get that. That's sort of like you get hot in that last 10 seconds because you got snipe. And like the last 4 guys you wanted all went right before you go. And then you're like on the spot here. Okay, I don't even know. Like all the guys I wanted are gone right now. So you got a minute to make that decision. In a slow draft,
all
you have to deal with that stress.
All you have to do is be a good decision maker in a real draft. In a long draft, you're committed to this relationship of this slow draft.
It's like your best friend for a week and a half. You're right. It is.
You don't want. Let me out of this.
I do though. I like that best friend. I'm like, okay. Who's made picks? Like, whoa, 5 picks have gone since I last checked my phone. I love a slow draft.
This is the stage 5 clinger that I'm trying to avoid right now.
Exactly. And I appreciate that throw, Dan Titus, because that is it. I get it. There's a mindset. And look, I understand that Rick and I are closer in age than you and I are closer in age, Dan, but I have a much younger mentality, and I don't need to spend a week and a half of my life. I don't do relationships. This is why I don't do dynasty leagues. I don't need to deal with these players next year. You know what? I'm getting out. We're starting fresh, shaking it off. I might bring you on my team next year. I might not, but I don't have to think about you on the off season. I don't have to wonder what you're doing on the off season. There's nothing worse than a dynasty league. And in the summer, players start getting arrested. It's just players getting arrested until they're on your team. And you've got to figure out, is this video going to come out before the season? I've got to start thinking about this in July. Like, I just don't need that kind of external pressure. It's unnecessary. The slow draft is the absolute one invention in fantasy sports that needs to go away.
It's for diehards. And granted, I'm a junkie. I'm a degenerate. I love to draft. I can't get enough of them. I could also just be totally okay with it being a 2-hour at max commitment, not 2. I mean, it's been going on for 2 weeks now. And to your point, Rick, about like things happening, somebody drafted Gavin Lux solid. Like I want to say like maybe like 8th, 9th round, maybe 10th, torn ACL like 3 days later. So like I'd much rather deal with my future in the moment, not have it stretched out across, what could be upwards of 3 weeks of me drafting with people.
And he can't even replace Gavin Lux until the draft is over. So
Exactly.
he's got to
Right.
stay.
Yeah, he can. He can draft another shortstop right now. He knows this guy blew a tire, and he can draft another shortstop. He doesn't have to wait till the end of the draft.
We had a question that went out during the break that our listeners, I'm hoping, answered. I'm going to ask the both of you. It has nothing to do with slow drafts, Dan. It's an NBA question. Here is the question. I have the answer. I assume you two will too. Which Laker was so dominant that he prompted the NBA's introduction of the goaltending rule? I will repeat like a game show. Which Laker was so dominant that he prompted the NBA's introduction of the goaltending rule? Rick, you look like you have it. Rick, look at Rick. He's so confident. You got it, right, Rick?
I'm debating how far in the era do I want to go back here for my
It's
guess.
pretty far. I'm just going to give you a hint. It's pretty far.
I'm going to say George Mikan.
Look at that money right there. This is why you follow Dan Titan on social media. This is why you're right here with us right now.
Right?
Or Titus. I'm so sorry. Dan Titus. This is why you follow
Remember the
Dan
Titans.
Titus.
Remember the Titans.
Titans.
Same
Remember the Titans. Rick, you had the answer, right?
I did, yeah. But I just wanted to lay in the weeds and see what was up. So that's a good question right there. I love some George Mikan trivia. Didn't they name the most improved trophy after George Mikan? Didn't they do that at the beginning of the year? I think they did.
Yeah, they did.
I think that's dope. I mean, we're talking about the Babe Ruth of basketball. You could say that's Wilt or Russell, I guess, and be like pretty much accurate with it. But I mean, if we want to be really, really accurate with it, the first like big time winner in the NBA was George Mikan, just like Babe Ruth. So I love they still do the Mikan drill. Dan's in the driveway. I know this doing the Mikan drill right now.
Dan, did you play basketball in school?
I did. I played up until high school, played a little bit of club in college, but that was the end of my career. I think I was at a height disadvantage, a little bit of drinking and smoking, kind of pretty much derailed my career in college. So
that's what happened to me with football in high school, Dan. That's what I retired in 10th grade, pretty much the same reason.
Do you get to shoot around at all now? Do you still play hoops ever?
I do. I definitely say I lost a step, but I definitely still hustle on defense. I'm one of those old heads now. I thrive at the mid-range. That's like really my go-to. And I see that the mid-range is coming back as much as everyone's talking about, oh, it's the three-point era. There's actually been way more emphasis on the mid-range this year with guys like Josh Giddey and stuff like that. So I love to see that that's coming back. Obviously, Kevin Durant's one of the best at it. But, yeah, man, I feel like that's an underrated spot because if you can get to your spots at my age, I think it's definitely where I bring my value.
Rick, what about you? What's your shooting experience right now? Are you going for the free throws? Are you a layup only kind of guy? Are you dunking? Are you playing horse?
Well, I haven't played pickup basketball in a long time, but I used to play a ton of pickup basketball. And Dan in LA, like my hero's coming up, Magic Johnson. But in terms of like, so I'm 6'2", and Dan knows this. Like, so if I'm at a pickup game, they're looking at me like a big LA, okay? Right. And there may be like other guys that are bigger than me, but so like I've guarded so many 6'7", 6'5". I got no shot against these guys, especially if they got rise. I have no shot. Literally, They're going to score every time against me. Help! That's all I say the entire game, okay? But my game was back to the basket, post moves. Like the lower left block, get the right hand up, give him a little drop step fake to the baseline.
There it is,
come back
footwork.
with a little righty hook over the top. It's wide open. Give him the show and go McHale move where you show him the ball, they jump, and then you go up and under him for the layup. Like that's what I used to hit him with, man. Like the Patrick Ewing move, right? He'd have the ball. Let's see, the in the pinch post on the left side of the block. And he would run across the lane, get the shoulder in on you, and then just like fade away into like an 8-footer that was money in deluxe every time. Like those were my moves, man.
I don't know how much college basketball you two watched last weekend, but I got in deep. I had to go 2 TVs, had some golf on, which is very important for me to watch. Rick does not understand, but I love it. That Cambridge shot for Arizona was like, I am so locked in to March Madness now. Like that shot, I got off my chair, I rewound it, I watched it again, and I was like, here we are. This is why we live for this month of the year. What a shot. Could he have thought that was going to go in? It was unbelievable. You saw it, Rick. You saw. I mean, there was tons of replays of it all weekend. This kid's
no doubt. This is what we get. It's this time of year. We're going to have insane comebacks, insane shots. I'll tell you what. I got a vibe on college hoops going into this year, and it's from listening and studying my guy Tom Casale. He keeps talking about mid-majors. Because how many? Like I usually. Guys go with like the brand name teams, right? And what is it? My bracket's broken by like, I don't know, day 3 or whatever. So yeah. I'm going to like go off the beaten path this year. Cause I don't have like deep bios on all of these teams. I'm an NBA guy. I'm in the lab watching 3 TVs every night with the NBA on it. It's what I do. Okay. And then I screw around with the, with college basketball tournament time. And then as the tournament goes on, like, we're smart sports people, so we can like, all right, this team, and we can start to analyze it a little bit better when they're on that huge stage. But going in, I'm going to be looking to get off of brand name teams because the college basketball that I've watched and followed this year, there are definitely some big boys, but it feels wide the F open this year. And I think we could get a 10 seed going to the Final Four. I think we could get a mid-major going to the Final Four. I think it's going to be a wacky tournament.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it too. I don't watch much college basketball. I try to get into the conference season a little bit more. I went to Virginia Tech in the ACC, or formerly, I guess. But now, like I've really been trying to hone in on teams that shoot free throws well and have this weird defenses. Like 2 3s, 3 2s that kind of neutralize some of those bigger star name players at the bigger schools. In the Big Five. And so, I think this, as you said, Rick, there's just so much parity now that I think you can. Root for these upsets. And it's so much better when you're betting on it too. Like, I want to see those takedowns of like, a 15-2, like, oh man, those are just the best moments. And I think, March Madness, even though I'm not a huge college basketball guy, it's one of the best times of the year, easily.
When I saw Cambridge make that shot, the first thing I thought was like, this guy, he's getting all the girls now. Like it's on. Like the lady magnet that this is. Like he is the man in this situation, but you're the man in this situation. Dan, where can everybody find all of your work and follow you, not just on Twitter at Dan Titus?
Yeah, you can follow my work at Yahoo Sports and also follow me on Twitter at Dan Titus. On TikTok, same thing. I'm going to be creating some more content with some fellow folks at the Bettor Network team. So I'm really excited about that. And love what Matt's built here. Awesome network. And obviously, thank you to you guys for having me on tonight. It's been great.
Thanks for sharing your time with us. We look forward to talking to you again, seeing all of your content. Your sound is absolutely supreme. Best guest ever. Before I let you guys go to a little break, I got to remind you that we're getting you ready for upcoming baseball season with a Bettor Baseball preview. That does not mean that you have to do slow drafts. It means you can choose your draft style. Just so you know, from fantasy baseball to MLB betting and the newest baseball cards for 2023, you can access all of our exclusive content for free right now at bettorsports.com. Featuring some of the best baseball minds in the industry like Adam Ronis, Ray Flowers, Kyle F. Elfrink, and Cody Decker. Get player profiles, prop bets and futures, sleepers and busts, fantasy draft strategy collectibles at no cost. Please register with your name and email at bettorsports.com right now. Get instant access plus notifications when new features are released. We will boycott the long, slow drafts next season. I'm going to start a petition. I'm going to campaign. I'm going to go door to door. I'm going to start asking people, what do they prefer? And we're going to knock it out. This is going to be no more, Rick. You better enjoy your last season of slow drafting. Dan, thanks so much for joining. We'll be right back. Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla right here on Bettor Sports Live on the Bettor Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern.
People are always very critical when it comes to fantasy baseball. I would say this, and I'm a big fantasy basketball guy. I love fantasy football. There's no fantasy sport that's even close to being as hard as baseball. the season, having to figure out, especially if you're playing weekly, which I don't like to play. Oh, weekly with the 2 starts, having to look at the schedule and everything. Bro, I mean, you play in basketball as well. There's no fantasy sport that's harder or more involved than baseball. It takes forever. You take a whole night to do your fab on Sundays.
Yeah, baseball is the most challenging, and I think that's why the popularity has gone down. People don't want to work. They don't want to put in the time. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it. You have to know the player pool. That's why I love doing these 15-team, 50-round drafts. I mean, 750, 800 players. You go to all the minor leaguers. I took Spencer Strider last year in my first draft Champions League in like round 40, and that turned out to be a phenomenal pick. So it puts you on to knowing everything about every team. And yeah, it's a lot of work. So I definitely think that it's a challenge, and I just feel like people don't want to put in time and work anymore. And I'm not saying fantasy football is easy. It's not. But you cannot tell me that fantasy football is more difficult than fantasy baseball. I play both sports. I don't have an allegiance to either one. I love both. I play both. But, fantasy baseball is a grind, man. You got to put in months of preparation. Spring training is important. It helped me get Carlos Rodon a couple years ago. I was not on him until the spring, seeing the velocity and the changes. So there's a lot of things you can discover in the spring. And this is the first real full spring training that we've had in years. Now, there is the WBC that is going to cut into it a little bit, and some guys will not be at camp. But the spring can help you discover. And again, you're talking about, even if you're in a 12-team league, I mean, you're probably going to have 23 to 30 roster spots. And then the 15-team leagues and the minor leagues, I mean, you got to know a lot. I mean, it takes a lot of skill to win a fantasy baseball title. We've seen it, right? You can have like an average player win a fantasy football league. Like, we've all been in leagues where like, yeah, this guy's not that good. He's probably going to win a championship at some point. Things break right. He has a great draft, picks up a player off the waiver wire. That's not happening in fantasy baseball, man. You do not see bad players win fantasy baseball championships. You just don't. It's a 6-month season. You can't afford to take a week or two off from fab. You can't do it. Last year, say you took off the week where Taylor Ward was the big pickup. You lost a player that was a contributor most of the season. I know we had a couple of down periods, and Taylor Ward was a player I added in multiple leagues, but you can't take that time off. You can't afford to miss out. And, every little detail is important. So I know fantasy baseball is not as popular as it used to be, but I personally feel it's because people don't want to work hard. They just don't. Everyone wants the easy way out now. They want easy access. That's why people don't read anymore. They want a quick video. Fantasy baseball is a lot of work, trust me. But you know what? When you win a championship, it's really gratifying.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Bettor Sports Network.
I'm gonna take my horse to the hotel room. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. Hat down, cross town, living like a rock star. Spend a lot of money on my brand new guitar. Baby's got a habit, diamond rings, and Fendi sports bras. Riding down Rodeo in my Maserati sports car. Got no stress, I've been through all that.
And we are back with you right here, Lisa Ann and Rick Hamla on Bettor Sports Live. Just so you know, I completely agree with this statement. Golf talk is fun. It is especially fun with the Tour Junkies, now playing on BSN On Demand. Here, David Barnett and Pat Perry take a victory lap for Chris Kirk's win at the Honda Classic, which was exceptional, Rick. Give their betting approach for this week's Arnold Palmer Invitational and Puerto Rico Open. Take an early look at the odds for the Masters. Get winning advice and picks for daily fantasy sports and betting on the Tour Junkies, now playing on demand with the Bettor Sports Network app. It's all about the golf right now, buddy. It is all about, I have not watched one XFL game. I feel horrible about it.
You shouldn't. It is there. It is there if we want it. And if we don't want it, then we don't have to take it. Okay. The NFL, and trust me, I'm not complaining. It just between you and me, it's my favorite thing to watch. Okay.
XFL?
No, the NFL.
Okay.
We have to watch the NFL.
Yeah.
We can't not watch the NFL.
Right.
You cannot watch baseball and still have big opinions on baseball. And I'm saying not every game. Like, we literally have to watch every single football game, every single one, even the crappy Thursday night games with bad teams. We have to watch these games. It's our job, but it's also our love. And so you don't have to watch every basketball game. There's 82 games times 30 teams. It's 100 million games. You don't have to watch every game to have your finger on the pulse of these teams. But so look, the golf thing, LA. probably the only way you're going to get me into it,
Okay.
is to set up a fantasy scenario where I'm competing, because when I compete, I get competitive.
Well, you can play DFS golf, and you'd be able to play that in Florida because it's not sports betting.
Yeah, I'm not putting my money on my golf opinions just yet, right?
What about $1? Throw $1 down here and there. You know
I guess
what I mean?
could, but here's the thing: like, over time, like $5 here, $5 there, $5 here, $5 there, and these tournaments, there's 275,000 damn people in these tournaments. It's extremely hard to even get your money back, let alone pop and win, the big money. I've won one a relatively big tournament, LA. It was a Monday nighter, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. I hit it, just had the right combination, and I won, $700 or $900, something like that. It was a good win off like a $10 or $15 investment, right? I won the pool. There were like several.
That was NFL, not golf, right?
NFL.
How did we get here?
But I can't, okay, so I had that victory, right? My bank account was looking great, and it just is going like bloop, 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 bloop. Daily fantasy is like, I like it. I dabble with it.
It's a fickle beast.
Here's the problem with it. It's too much of a lottery ticket. Okay. If there's too much luck involved, there's too much roll of the dice involved. Like, I can't, if it's me and you and 10 others, LA, or sometimes I like going, the double ups, right? You play 25, you try to double your money. You got a pool of like 20 people. Like, I'll mess around with that kind of thing because the pool is smaller. I can be better than 20 people. I feel very confident about that, but can I be better than 275,000 people? I don't know.
I have a news flash right here. I have a massive news flash. We also need to check in, touch base with Ricky's props. We're going to talk about these games that have started. Rick, you've got something. We've got two amazing producers in studio.
Yes, we do.
If you remember, I'll never forget Heavy T on air again on Twitter. We've also got Ant Rivera 86. But Heavy T in the chat brought something to me right here. Heavy T, I'm going to tell you this right now. I have a Will Zalatoris feeling about the Masters myself. I do not know why. Every time I think about the Masters right now, I think Zalatoris is going to make it. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. I want this kid to win it for sure. But you say you heard it here. I've been having that hunch as well. And he's like, let's go. Because Zalatoris, great history, short career so far in PGA. But really a difference maker. He was your pick last year. Scrimp Daddy in the chat said, I wasn't feeling it last year. He had won some tournaments. If you recall, he won a tournament because he's flying coach because PGA before Live did not pay for any of the travel or hotels for these players. And they're paying everybody else or caddy, everybody else. He had to try and stuff his trophy into the overhead storage it was the best social media clip I'd ever seen. I was like, I love this guy forever. He's competed twice. He's finished second and sixth. It's going to happen. Heavy T, I'm right with you. I'm putting my money on it now that you double cross that because I'd been feeling it. And here we are. But let's talk about your props. We threw all these props out at Bettor Network on Twitter. So if you weren't able, I see some of you have hopped in. Slim Will guy is talented. I like that. Slim Will is a great nickname. Get in the game still likes Rom. I'm not feeling Rom this year. I am so in on Zalatoris. Like that's just that. How are you feeling so far about these early game Ricky props? Right now, I'm going to Tyler Hero. You had the over 27.5 combo.
I did. So let's go to Tyler Hero here. We got a good ball game. LA, Miami leads Philly 40-39 early second quarter. And Tyler Hero, 3 of 6 from the field, 7 points. He's also got a couple of assists. Off the top of my head, 25.5 was the number we had to hit with the combo prop here.
Actually, it was 27.5. Let me correct you there. I have the data in front of me.
27.5. So we're at 9. He's got 2 assists. So he's at 9 with the first quarter. 9 times 4 is 36. So I think we're well on pace to hit the over here on Tyler Hero's combo prop. I'm feeling good about that one, LA.
All right, then let's move on to the next game. It's in the second quarter right now. That's the Cavs taking on the Celtics. You had Donovan Mitchell at Boston over 25.5 points.
So we've been down this road before, haven't we? With a slow start by Donovan Mitchell,
It's
some
always
hand
the
wringing.
second hour of the show where
That's
I got to
right.
put you on the struggle bus because it's not happening fast enough. And then the third hour, it all starts to come together because
Yes.
you know your NBA, Rick Kamla.
Well, I liked it. There was one time I played a prop on, I forget if it was Embiid or Mitchell, and it was a Philly-Cleveland game, and Cleveland just gave up. They got beat by 800 points. And so we missed. So this is a good game. Cleveland actually leads at Boston 28-26 early second quarter. Mitchell played the entire first quarter, only 5 points. Obviously, not what we want. We got to hit 26 here to hit the over. But like I said, we've been down this road before with Donovan. So I'm not hand-wringing. I'm not going to start stressing out. He's probably going to have, I don't know, hopefully 12, 13 points at halftime and get himself in range to pop over that number in the second half. Here we go.
Here we go. Let's tap on some NBA storylines. We know about LeBron suffering the foot injury. He's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. But LaMelo Ball fractures his right ankle out for this season. No luck for the Ball brothers.
That's such a good point by you with Lonzo's got this knee injury that just will not leave him alone and not let him get his career back. Hopefully that'll happen next year, but it ain't going to happen this year. They've already shut him down. Yep. Now LaMelo's been shut down with this fractured ankle. And LA, this is buzzkill times a lot because I don't know how long this is going to take to recover, but we're in March. He hasn't had surgery yet. And I would imagine the surgery and then the rehab from this is going to be multiple months.
Yeah,
okay.
Like 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah. Yep. So that puts us at like June, July. And so, fingers crossed that he's ready to start next season. But here he is coming. This isn't like an overly sprained ankle. This is a fractured ankle. Like, I don't know. I mean, you remember the Dak Prescott, in the game, and it was real ugly and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's a fractured ankle. Mm-hmm. He's come back and he's been pretty much the same dude. And so I would anticipate LaMelo Ball coming back and being the same dude. I just worry if he'll be ready to start next season on time.
I think one of the differences in football and NBA is really the taping of the foot and the ability to not have to do as many motions of that stop and go like an NBA player does, right? So much harder on their knees and their ankles. Yes, in the NFL, you can get hit by a lineman that's going to just bulldoze you. But I do think it puts a lot of more jolting pressure for an NBA player than an NFL player. And the way they've been able to prop up Dak's ankles, you just don't see that as much in the NBA.
You don't. I talked to Pat Riley a bunch of years ago at I think it was 95.
What a baller Pat Riley was.
I mean, he's the man. Pat Riley gave me one of the greatest compliments I've ever gotten. Pat, it was outside the Skirvin Hotel in Oklahoma City. You ever been to the Skirvin Hotel?
Have not.
It's supposedly haunted and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. I didn't have any ghosts in my room, at least not that I know of.
They may have been quiet. You know what I mean?
They might have just been leaving me alone that night. And so I'm outside waiting for the car to pick me up and take us to the arena, NBA TV, the whole thing. And Pat Riley's out there. And so I'd interviewed him and talked to him a few times, like, Pat, good luck tonight, right? It was a finals game. It was Miami and that was LeBron when he won his first title with the Heatles. And Pat said, thanks for saying that, Rick. He goes, nice suit. Gave me that look where he kind of went, nice suit. And kind of looked me up and down, the tie combo, the shirt combo with the suit. I was rocking a black and white pinstripe, kind of gangster suit, honestly, with a white shirt and like a really
it's poppy, the finals. You've got to wear a gangster suit, right?
So with a really poppy multicolored tie, right? And you remember the Riley ties, like that was the whole thing. You had the pattern and the really dope ties. And so I got suit that from Pat Riley. Like literally, I just put that one right here in my heart and kept that one. I'll just take that one with me.
I do have a follow-up question.
Yeah, what's up?
Follow-up question is, do you miss wearing suits and getting dappered up to be on television, or do you like being more casual?
I like them both. I mean, I miss doing TV. I do. We're doing TV right now, but, obviously 17 years over at NBA TV, great run.
Yeah.
I'm blessed. I'm grateful for that run.
You must have such a collection of suits from that time.
Got a pretty good collection of suits, LA.
Yeah.
I'm like an NBA coach right now. Like I got a closet full of suits and I never wear them. Like they just hang on the hanger the whole time. This is gussied up for me right now. I'm rocking like a Mets polo shirt for LA, the blue and the orange, trying to get the whole vibe going here. Yeah, I have a lot of suits. I've got 2 bins full of ties under my bed. Yeah, we got some clothes, man. I like the suit game, and that's what it is. It's I called it the suit game. Like, you got to be good at playing the suit game. You're on TV. You can't be on there looking like a whatever. So I'm a big pocket square guy, kind of matching the shirt
closet
and the tie.
that I would like to walk through the most is definitely Clyde Frazier.
Oh my God.
And I remember when I read
closet, don't you mean museum? Like, he doesn't just have a closet.
I remember reading Dr. J's book, and Clyde was so helpful to him and was helping him go out and get suits to wear, to and from the games. And Dr. J pulled the tailor aside and said, I'd like to stick with basics to start, like navy, brown, black, because he was just so worried that he was going to end up with all of Clyde's. You still see Clyde at every game at MSG, and I'm like, I don't know if I've seen this guy wear the same suit twice, and he's just vibrant, and he's got such good energy, that man.
Yeah, I love Clyde Frazier. I'm friendly with him. We don't like text and all that kind of stuff, but I've worked with him before. He's an awesome man.
Yeah, I've met him quite a few times.
He's brilliant.
Yes.
I believe he was telling me he owns property in Bahamas or something like that. He goes down there a lot. I'm a big fan of him, like the human, the player, the announcer. LA, the other night, he was rocking it looked like literally a cow. It looked like he was wearing a cow. It was black and white. His suit was black and white, but like the black splotches like a cow, right?
He can rock it.
And he rocked it, and he looked great. I don't know if you've seen my guy Calvin Murphy on the Rockets broadcast.
Yes.
It is Pimp Daddy, man. It is like it's got glitter and it's real shiny and showy and colorful. I love it, man. I'm here for that. Craig Sager, may he rest in peace. All the dope suits he used to wear. I'm totally here for all that, man.
All right, so we've gone through your props. We're at that part of the night where you know what's going to happen, but it's still a little painful to look at it right now.
Yeah, now. It's like watching a stock the whole time. No, like, show me the baby when I'm making money on this damn stock.
Let's go into some odds for our listeners right here. Get in the Game says, like walking through a disco when it comes to those suits. Let's get into some odds here. We've got odds for MVP. Would you like me to run through them for you, Rick?
Yes, hit me.
All right. We got Nikola Jokic at -350, Embiid +400, Giannis Antetokounmpo at +800, Jason Tatum at +1,500, Luka Doncic at +25, and Ja Morant at +1,200. I'm sorry, Doncic was at 2,500.
Okay. Jokic at a -350 is priced out. Last week we were talking about this, and he was at a -250. And to me, that wasn't priced out. Okay, let's bet, if you have the money, let's bet 1,000 to win 400. Okay, that makes sense to me. Yeah. If you've got the money, and you're gonna have to wait a long time, for the award ceremony when they announce the winner, right? So it's you got to give away that money for a little bit, but I feel very good about you getting your grand back and 400 more on a +250. We're at a +350 now. I don't like that anymore.
-350. This is a -350.
Pardon me, -350. So that ship has sailed. What you need now? Well, I don't even want to go into what you need now. To me, that's a stay away, LA. But let me tell you something that happened on NBA TV. Pardon me, NBA radio today. Antonio Daniels, with the phenomenal wisdom that he brings to our show every day, wanted us to get into a conversation about MVP criteria. All right. What is your criteria? What matters to you? What makes an MVP worthy? All this kind of stuff. Fascinating. We took phone calls for an hour straight on this. As a part of that conversation was me saying, have you put this race to bed? Is the MVP race over? And Antonio said, we got 20 games left. Hell no. We talked to Terry Stotts, former Portland coach, right? He told me and Antonio in our interview that we said, who's the MVP? And he said, I don't know. It's going to be determined in the last 20 games. There's 4 guys. We talked to Paul Westhead, who won that first chip as coach with the Lakers back in 1980, it played out in that Lakers show on HBO and the whole thing. And we said, who's your MVP? And he said, Giannis. Okay. And so a lot of the media, LA, I believe, have already kind of put this one to bed. But ball players, coaches, and probably a lot of other people have not put this to bed. So this is all maybe important for the MVP race. What really matters is what the voters are going to do, and that's, of course, NBA media. And so if they've put it to bed, then Jokic is going to win, and we can just move on to another topic. But, LA, maybe Jokic doesn't have this wrapped up. And maybe we have underestimated voter fatigue actually setting in with the voters and them not wanting to pull the trigger on that Jokic call on their ballot, looking at Giannis and Embiid and Tatum. So here's the play, because I hear more of Giannis than I do Embiid. All right. And I don't agree with that. But part of that, LA, like Embiid totally has an MVP case. But part of that is I just want Embiid to win this award. He's been the runner-up 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Probably going to be the runner-up again this year. Like, that sucks for this guy. And I see the effort. I see how bad he wants it, LA. He's diving on the floor.
So you truly
for
believe
balls.
it's between Jokic and Giannis? That's really what you think, the narrowed down. If
Correct.
you were looking, you think it's between those two. What is it when you collect those calls and you hear, your wise listeners, because you get great callers on NBA radio. What is it that you hear is the reason why it's a no for Embiid? Why does he get so close? Is it missed games? Is it lack of consistency? What is it that they see? Or is it that he's just not as likable of a character for some reason than Giannis? Everybody loves Giannis. They really do. He's so likable, right? I don't know if everybody loves Embiid. I think people have those opinions about Embiid. Like he's one of those, like, it's black or white. You either love him or you hate him, right? And it's not about the team per se. It's about him, maybe his attitude, how he is. He's jovial. He sometimes maybe seems like he doesn't take it as seriously as others, where that Giannis is like so committed.
You're right about all that, LA. What we hear from the callers, it's not so much of like an anti-Embiid thing. It's they go to bat for this guy, right? So they're not like calling up to bang on a guy and make the case against a guy. They're calling up to make a case for a guy. I don't hear a lot of negative on Joel Embiid, but I also don't hear a lot of people saying Embiid is their MVP. You hear a lot of Jokic, you hear a lot of Giannis. And again, like, I feel like it is I want to stress kind of condensed to those two guys, but I don't want to exclude Embiid from this. I don't want to exclude Tatum from this, because there are four guys at the core of this debate. But all of that said, LA, again, we can't play Jokic at minus 350. We can't. I feel like Embiid at plus 400 is wasted money. I just think it's barking up the wrong tree. I don't think he's going to win. I do believe that there's a little bit of that sort of human element with Embiid that some people just aren't really big fans of his. And maybe it's like they're not a fan of him and the city of Philly all balled up into one. I freaking love Joel Embiid. I love the bully. He's the Shaq of today's game, right? He's a shit talker. He is powerful and dominant on the court. He's a trash talker up in your face. He talks trash to you on Twitter after the game. Like, yo, this guy is all about every single bit of the smoke, okay? Every single little bit of that smoke he wants. I love Joel Embiid. But no, if you're going to offshoot Jokic, because you can't play that, the play here, if you got to have money on this MVP race, play Giannis at plus 800, okay? I don't think you're going to win, but you have a chance. I don't think you have a chance with Tatum or Embiid. I just don't think they're going to win this award. They have too high of a mountain to climb. They're not going to get over Jokic, especially LA, if Jokic's averages a triple-double, which he is right now. But if Jokic's assist total falls below 10, and it's right at 10 right now, LA, if it falls below 10 at 9-8, 9-7, 9-6, that's not a triple-double. Right. Boom. The door opens for somebody else to come in and win it, and that would be Giannis Antetokounmpo. So Giannis at plus 800 is the play right now on the MVP and the NBA.
All right, I like it. Let's move on to odds for Rookie of the Year. Our first is the player that when you and I first started talking NBA this season, one of your first Ricky's prop segments revolved around this young man.
Oh, yeah.
That was Paolo Banchero. And he is at minus 1,400. Let me go to the next one. Benedict Mathurin. How do you pronounce that name?
You basically nailed it. Mathurin. You put the focus on the beginning of the name.
Mathurin.
Yeah, Mathurin.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Benedict Mathurin at plus 950. And then Walker Kessler at plus 2,500. We got three options here. And I feel that you're a heavy lean on Paulo.
Well, LA, it would be nice to be a big old fat cat rich dude and have the money to outlay on Paulo at minus 1,400 to win Rookie of the Year because it's a lock. You can't lose. But guess what? I can't make this work. I can't play $1,400 in a bet to win $100 bet. I don't have that kind of money. But if you are
it's just
whale,
silly. Yeah, it's silly.
But if you're a whale and you
Sure.
can bet $1 million on Paulo Banchero to win Rookie of the Year at minus 1,400, I don't know what the math would work out to your payoff on that, but that is an investment that's going to hit. You are going to make, but nobody's winning this award, LA, outside of Paulo Banchero. His name is engraved on the trophy all the way to the O at the end of his name.
Well, that's
and
an easy one. And that's
even if he blew a tire, LA, he would still win the award. That's how big of a lead he has right now.
And that's why it's at minus 1,400. I mean, that just, the number says it all. Would you get plus 950 and plus 2,500? That just says it all. Okay, so let's go on to Coach of the Year. This is always an interesting conversation. We got Mike Brown at plus 110, Joe Mazzulla at plus 170, and Michael Malone at plus 330.
Okay. Mike Brown.
Wow, that's just it. That's just it.
Mike Brown's the play here. So let's flip that Embiid narrative, right? Everybody loves Mike Brown. Universally, unilaterally, whatever word you want to use, that consensusly, I don't even think that's a word, but you get my drift. You can't go to an NBA arena, an NBA practice facility, and ask about Mike Brown and hear a bad word. You can't. I defy you. It will not happen. It's an impossibility. It won't happen on planet Earth, at least not in this dimension. So people want to vote for him. Okay. I worked with Mike at NBA TV, literally like the nicest guy I've ever met. Treats everybody great, humble as hell, grateful, happy to be there. Great family man. He's an awesome dude, man. So, but let's focus on the case at hand here. He's got Sack in third place in the West. Frickin' Sack, trying to snap a 16-game, year playoff drought. And I believe voters are going to look at Joe Mazzulla and say, yep, it's very impressive. But you took over a team that just went to the NBA Finals, okay? This guy, Mike Brown, has basically started from ground zero and built this new program with the Kings. And the freaking Kings are third in the West. So I think Mike Brown's going to win this, LA, and the odds suck. It's a plus 110. It's basically you bet 100 to win 100. But if I got to play one on this board, I'm playing Mike Brown.
All right, let's go to some live NBA updates because there's some shit really going down right now in New York. I wish I was at this game. All the good games at MSG are on Wednesdays. Like, it's so, like, when I'm looking ahead at the schedule, because I could have gotten floor seats on either side of the ball here between the Knicks and the Nets. It is 76-46. The Knicks are walking all over the Brooklyn Nets. This is embarrassing. You both live in the same neighborhood. At least stand up for your neighborhood here.
Oh, yeah.
All right, the Nets just put up 2. So we got 52 for the Nets. 76-52 right now. And we're looking at this in the second quarter. This is only the second quarter. What are they going to do? Like, is 150 points by the time this game is over? What are the Knicks going to do? Because they are going to rub it in, I think.
Okay, boom. You just hit it. Okay. The Nets beat the Knicks like 11 times in a row, 10 times in a row, whatever that streak was, right? They basically beat the Knicks over like a 4-year period. It was like a presidential cycle or an Olympic cycle that the Knicks did not beat the Nets. It was like several years, okay? And so the Knicks beat them up pretty good in the last game. And that's the vibe I had coming into this, LA. That's why I played the under on Mikal Bridges' combo prop. And right now he's at 13 points. 2 rebounds, 1 assist. He's at 16 with the combo.
And by the way, the live spread on this game, thank you to our producers. You're so amazing here in the chat, feeding me with great information. Live spread for that game is Knicks minus 19.5.
If I had to play it, I'd play the Knicks because I think the Nets are going to let go of the rope here. They probably already have. I don't have this game on. I've got Charlotte and Phoenix on right now. But Brooklyn played last night, LA. Let's rewind a little bit. They played last night at home against Milwaukee. They hung and had the lead for most of that game. Second half, they dipped and realized, oh, we don't have any stars, and they do, and boom, Giannis and the whole thing, and they steamrolled them the rest of the game. Well, guess what? That gassed them out because they had the game, they were playing well, and now second of a back-to-back at the Knicks. But you hit it on the head, okay? What I know, we've been doing this a long time, you and me. There are a lot of things that we just know about sports. And when one team has been kicking the other team's ass for a long period in a row, and then the team that's been getting their ass kicked suddenly gets the upper hand on that other team. They don't relent, okay? They're not like, oh man, let's call off the dogs here. No, let's go in for the jugular and embarrass these jokers because they've done it to us over the last 3 years.
Imagine the energy right now at MSG.
Oh, it's on fire.
Imagine the game I'm going to on the 2nd. I just hope that they don't sit players because they're playing the Wizards who just, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you really got to show up? But I'm hoping I can motivate some players. I got good seats. By the way, Dolphins in the room. Is that my friend Wendy? And I sure hope that it is. I know Dolphins is normally what Wendy uses on other profiles. So Dolphins. Hello, Wendy. Wendy's played in some fantasy leagues with us. Wendy's is a great friend. And Wendy and I had a chat today. So I had a moment on a podcast. And you know the guys at Fantasy Points Live. You know Matt. I'm going to give you full names, right? You know Matt Donnelly, been around forever. You
Love
know
Matt Donnelly. That's my guy.
So do you want to hear about the most Lisa inserts her foot awkward moment on a podcast? Where they're asking me like random questions. We're talking sports, but then we're going into some questions. You know, I'm like, I've changed my protocol on Twitter, and I now call it like it's Twitter Survivor Island. You don't know if you're going to be alive or if you're going to be blocked by tomorrow. It's just my rules only. So like every day, 3 times a day, I just go in there and I'm like, block, just done with it. Right. So I was explaining to them, like, it's just annoying being asked out by like, and the example I used was like, here's some random guy that thinks he can ask me out on Twitter. He's a total stranger. I don't know who's going out with a stranger. He's got like 103 followers and he's got like weird photos in his house. And then he like still collects dolls that are in boxes, like those Funko Pop dolls.
Yeah.
And so Donnelly turns around, does like the slow. Donnelly has an entire wall of Funko Pop dolls behind him in the boxes. And I was so embarrassed.
Yeah. How did you get out of that one? How did
I said, you got to clip this. This is hilarious because with my eyes looking at a smaller screen like this, it looked like baseball cards to me. It looked like maybe a wall lined with baseball cards. I couldn't I couldn't really ID what they were.
Me either. When I do 2As with him, I'm like, you have a cool background, but what the hell is that? Funko?
So Wendy saw it and was dying laughing. So we got into a conversation. You all can check out that podcast. I tweeted it earlier. Great people. Matt Donnelly is just a great people. We got a lot of going on here in the chat. Let's catch up with everybody, right? So Frankie says, hey, LA and props. I think this Jackson Jr. should win Defensive Player of the Year. Guy is a blocks and steals beast. So Defensive Player is Jaren Jackson Jr. at -200. Brooke Lopez at +280. Bam Adebayo at +900. So it sounds like Frankie Pugs is really onto something. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to continue this conversation. I wanted to bring you into this chat. We'll keep going on it. Reminding you all, the trivia question that pops up during the break. All you got to do is tap the app and it's going to give you your 3 options. You're going to choose one. You can put it in the chat so we can read it later or it'll pop up. But answer this question. I think you're going to have the answer. When we get back, I'm going to ask Rick Kamla this question. He is not allowed to cheat. I have the answer, so I'm not allowed to answer. You're listening to Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla right here on Bettor Sports Live on the Bettor Sports Network.
Monday Night Rants with Edward Rouse on Bettor Sports Network.
Do you believe in the Madden curse? Do you think that's a real thing?
I did. Now, I don't think it's as big of a deal anymore, but it was a real thing for a solid 10, 15 years.
Yeah, it was Sean Alexander, LaDainian Tomlinson, Peyton Hillis.
LT was never on the cover. I know that.
Was he not? I thought he was one. Okay, well, you do know all the covers of everything.
Yeah, okay. So if you want, I could do this real quick. So Garrison Hurst is the first official Madden cover athlete, 1999. 2000, I believe they still put John Madden on the cover. And then 2001 is where it all started. So 2001, you have Eddie George. 2002, Dante Culpepper. 2003, Marshall Falk. 04, Michael Vick. 05, Ray Lewis, first defensive player on the cover.
Okay.
06, Donovan McNabb. 07, Sean Alexander.
Okay.
08, Vince Young. 09, Brett Favre.
Okay.
10 is a trick one because it's
No way you know.
And Larry Fitzgerald. 11, Drew Brees. 12, Peyton Hillis. 13, Calvin Johnson, I believe so.
You're right.
14.
No way you know all this.
14, also a trick question.
Uh-huh.
I believe that's the Madden 25 cover, and it's Barry Sanders. Unless you got it for the new consoles, in which case Adrian Peterson
Oh my God.
was on the cover.
You're not cheating. You're not looking at.
Swear on my life. Swear on my life.
Okay. Keep on going.
15, you have Richard Sherman.
Okay.
16, hold on. 16 is Odell Beckham.
Okay.
16. 17, now this is the one I get mixed up because 17 and 18 are back-to-back Patriots.
They are.
17, I think, is Gronk, and 18 is Brady.
You are correct.
19 is Antonio Brown.
Correct.
20, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my goodness.
21, Lamar Jackson. 22, Brady Mahomes. 23, John Madden. Yeah, dude, I'm a cover nerd when it comes to this stuff.
We now know, but that was really impressive. I don't know how.
Thank you.
That's literally 29 of them or something like that. Wow, that is. You did not miss a single one, and you even got the special editions where they had 2 people on the covers.
Monday Night Rants on Bettor Sports Network.
And we are back right here, Lisa and Rick Kamla on Bettor Sports Live. Let me talk to you about not doing slow drafts, as I like to do. It's very important. You can do regular drafts. We should make them illegal. It should be something that the next president does. Put it on the docket for the next president. If a president came and that was one of his conditions, then I would definitely vote for him. We're getting you ready for the upcoming baseball season with a Bettor Fantasy Baseball Preview. From fantasy baseball to MLB betting and the newest baseball cards for 2023, you can access our exclusive content for free right now at bettorsports.com. Featuring some of the best minds in the industry like Adam Ronis, Ray Flowers, Kyle Elfrink, and Cody Decker. Get player profiles, prop bets, and futures, sleepers and busts, fantasy draft strategy, collectibles, and more at no cost. Please register with your name and email at bettorsports.com right now and get instant access plus notifications when new features are released. We have the trivia question. All right. This is multiple choice. I don't think I should give you the multiple choice. I think I should just give you the question. How do you feel about that?
Hit me.
I mean, I think you're going to know it. There's no doubt you're going to know it. The Astros have not been to the World Series 4 times since 2017 and won twice. Which opponent did they not face in the World Series? Do you want me to give you the multiple choice answers?
Yeah, let's do
Oh,
that.
it's so disappointing.
Well, I don't like, I've got the entire National League to choose from. So
All right, here are your 3 choices. My beloved New York Mets. Shout out to the fact that pretty soon I'm going to get my yearly check-in on the relationship that is Mr. and Mrs. Met. The Philadelphia Phillies with the very first mascot that I ever fell in love with, the Philly Fanatic. And the Washington Nationals. So I'll read you the question again. The Astros have not been to the World Series 4 times since 2017 and won twice. Which opponent did they not face in the World Series?
So your answer is Mr. and Mrs. Met. They have not played
You
the
are
Mets
correct.
in the World Series just yet. Although maybe this year, LA. Maybe this year.
Wow.
We'll get Tommy Trumpet.
You know what?
I don't know that song.
If
But I
the
like it.
Mets are that good, I may consider taking the subway to Citi Field. Because you know I gave up the subway after
With a bodyguard,
bad-
right? You would only do that with a bodyguard, right?
So when I used to go there and meet Adam, because at that time Adam lived in Queens, so I would go on my own. And here was my strategy: I would go into Times Square because you have the most direct train to get right out there. I didn't just switch, but I would find families that were dressed in all Met gear, and I would just kind of pack in with them as if I was with them, right? And then people think I'm part of this big group. You know, there's kids, and I'm just like with them. The way back was a bit sketchy because people drink at the games, but I did have a homeless guy in a train where it was one of those like 15-minute segments where you can't, there's no stops. Like if there's a stop and somebody's weird, you just get off and go on to the next car. Homeless guy decided to go to the bathroom, and it was a number 2.
Oh,
and
no.
I wrote in my journal when I got home, 2016, my last subway ride. Have not done that to myself since. Yes, and that is fairly
just take
normal.
An Uber. Just take an Uber to the ballpark. Why you
The
got to mess with the
problem
subway?
is, okay, it's not only the fact that it's going to be like 2:20 to get the Uber to the ballpark, but it's the traffic time. You are going against the grain with traffic. So it's like a 2-hour adventure versus 25 minutes on the train.
It's a good point. So it's you've priced it out. It's literally $200.
Well, it
to
was
go from where you are to that
it
state.
was it was $150 then, and Ubers are almost twice now of what they were then. So yeah, it's just right. But look, I would take a friend with me, and Adam would probably come over this way now that he doesn't live in Queens anymore, because we would obviously be going together. Because he's who brought me into this world of the Mets. But you are right with that answer. And by the way, Nick Durst would like to tell you to put on some sunblock, Rick Kamla.
Not gonna happen, brother. I'm tanning myself, man. I look good.
But a little red. You got a little sunburn going on. Am I correct?
It's new. I mean, I just started. I mean, could I have some time to turn this red into a nice crispy Rick Kamla brown? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to do here. Get a nice tan. You got to start somewhere. I mean, we just got out of football season here. I'm not a sunscreen guy though. I'm not. I put sunscreen on my nose because my nose just fries. And I don't like stay out in the sun all day long. I like dose my body with it, you know what I mean? And build up to the point where I can just walk outside and be tan and like be feeling and looking good, LA. I know that the sunshine is good for me, man. It's good for my soul.
It is good for us. Like, I don't do sunscreen either, but I'm Italian. We just tan really well, but I don't tan my face. So I wear a really big hat, and I always wear sunscreen in my face, right? This so in the producer chat, it says this man thinks he's tougher than the sun. Let's get to a couple. What's more like this.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Of course.
Let me tell you a quick story about. I'm sorry to name drop. Okay, so I just let me just start with that. I'm sorry to name drop here. I had the blessed privilege once upon a time with NBA TV at the finals in San Francisco. Rick Fox, obviously a very prominent member of our crew at that point. Rick's my boy. I love Rick Fox. Okay, we're buddies. And so I threw out there to everybody at a production meeting, yo, I'm going to the Giants game later on today. Anybody want to come? And I was going to go alone. And Rick Fox said, I don't have anything else to do. I'll go. So I'll cut to the chase here. LA, we are sitting in the upper deck right behind home plate. Not the best seats, but really good seats, looking out over the ocean. And it was badass, man. That stadium's incredible. Every single woman in the section to the left of us, in the section we were in the section to the right of us, was clocking Rick Fox. Okay. Not me.
Good-looking guy. He's a good-looking guy.
But Rick Fox. but like you say, with the hat and the sunscreen. So Rick, being the Hollywood dude that he is and trying to protect the franchise, which is his face, brought a white towel with him, LA, and he put that white towel over his head and he literally held it. Look at me right here. He literally held it out over his face to create like an awning or a tent that so his face did not get sunburned.
He doesn't want to premature.
It was the whole thing.
But look, we cannot let our faces age. We want to look young. I mean, look at me. I'm 50. I'm going to be 51 in May. It's because I have not tanned my face my entire life. And I have to blend my makeup to match my body because my face will be white and the rest of my body will be so tan. But I would rather do that than have wrinkles.
Look, you look phenomenal, okay? And so keep doing what you're doing, LA. It's working. And obviously it's been working for Rick Fox, right? Yes. I mean, I'm telling you, every single woman in these sections, they were not watching the game, LA. They were clocking us, him, the entire time. That was an unusual but very fun experience with the great Rick Fox.
All right, let's talk about some what's more likelies. And by the way, we want all of you in the chat. We got a pretty robust chat going on over here tonight. Really excited to have our people in here. Really excited to see Wendy in here, Jeff, Scott. Always great to see Bettor Boss. So here's our first one. I'm going to go right to Bryce Young. Bryce Young will be limited by his size in the NFL, or he will be a star anyway. Now I'm going to tell you a little news that I was listening to yesterday. His college coach says that on Sundays, they're kind of putting together what they're looking for the next week. And one of the most unique things about Bryce Young is the fact that by Monday, he has gone through the packet where a lot of quarterbacks would start going through it on Monday, and he would come in and they would re-scheme things that he saw in what they were looking at for the team that they're facing. Now, size is definitely going to be his biggest obstacle. It's, of course, what everybody is talking about. This guy got to be a coach down the road because he already has that incredible football IQ. Does this hurt him? Again, everybody in there, will he be limited by his size in the NFL, or will he be a star anyway? What's your take? I have a little bit of a take on this as well. I don't think that he should go to a winter climate. I think he'd be best playing in a dome. I have broken down all of these little idiosyncrasies to protect him, at least for his home games.
I mean, I like where your head is at. I think in theory, ideally that would be a good situation for him. And so how about we send him down to Houston, LA with the 2nd overall pick, and they play indoors, and that should work out just
beautiful, great. Beautiful state. Oh, yeah. Before we forget, the Podfather. Let's go back to this right now. The Podfather article that I read, last article I read before I went to bed last night that I pinned to my news because I'm so angry at the Podfather. Well, what the Podfather said is they did excessively water that grass, and he told them not to roll the field back in before Saturday.
Dummies.
They rolled the field in on Wednesday. It doesn't get even light. That's why they had to build that field in Arizona at the stadium to roll out into the parking lot and grow. I still blame it on the Podfather because every player has said that that grass in Arizona had been a great field up until they decided let's just throw in another $800,000 and hire the Podfather, the Sod Father. The Sod Father, he's a thorn in my side. You know what I mean? I love his logo. I love the Sod Father's logo, the whole Godfather thing. I keep wanting to call him the Podfather. Don't know why, but we do have some resolve. He's placing blame on the maintenance people in Arizona.
Yeah.
The reason
It's not me. Don't fire me. Whack them.
Reason I have it pinned is because when you have it pinned, other news stories will surface. I want those people to come out and tell their side of the story. I want to know the truth. I want to know, when was Rihanna practicing on that field? Was she in there on Friday and Saturday? I'm on a need-to-know basis because I'm still not happy about how this Super Bowl went down. But let's go back to the what's more likely.
Let me ask you a question, LA. Let me ask you a question. Okay, you remember the first season of White Lotus, right?
Yeah.
Where the couple is on their honeymoon, and it's the guy is pissed at the manager of the hotel for doing him wrong, and he just will not let it go.
By the way, when I saw by the second episode, I was already like, this girl needs to annul this wedding because this guy's going to be annoying to be married to.
So he was so obsessed with this. With the manager that he literally almost ruined his marriage about it. But the point is, you are akin to that dude in your quest to bury the Sod Father. I mean, you want to talk to the Sod Father's boss and
I would have talked to all of them. Yes, I would like to have them on the show. I would like some proof. I would like some date. Were there emails?
You just will not let it go, LA. You will not.
Because I wanted a better Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl was 3 weeks ago. You will not let it go. You're just like Homie in the White Lotus season 1, man.
I can't get over it, man. I can't get over it because it's never going to be the same for the Eagles. This was their chance. Look, they're going to have so many men on their line retiring. I don't know if they're going to take that 10th pick and use it to a stud running back, which I think they should do. But there's so many questions I have, and it's just a letdown. I didn't want it to end that way. I mean, the referee as well, not happy with him. But the grass was atrocious, and I just got really into the story of the Sod Father.
I wish Armand didn't poop in Homie's luggage and then get shivved in the bathroom and die at the end of season 1. I wish that didn't happen. Armand was kicking and partying on his last day and then got this big idea and ended up dying about it, man. Sorry for the spoiler alert.
I don't agree.
Season 1.
I'm glad that happened to him because he took those young girls' party supplies, which he
did.
That
was brutal.
That
was such a party foul, man.
Those kids were on a family vacation.
I know. They needed that stuff.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Let's get back to
what a show, though, right? What a damn show.
What a damn show. Give me season 3 and I'll lock it down. DeAndre Hopkins plays for the Cardinals or the Giants this season. Is D-Hop still a player that you see a lot of value in, Rick? Is that we
Yes.
didn't you do. Okay.
I
So
do.
with that emphasis on your yes, then obviously he'd be a great fit for the Giants, for Daniel Jones to have a reliable veteran weapon there.
So let me just quickly give you just a taste on Bryce Young here. Because I love the intel that you just gave about him being ahead of the study game and that kind of thing. That stuff is really
They
cool.
would rewrite plays for him. They would rewrite plays for him.
I'd love to hear that. So just quickly, there's not a doubt in my mind that Bryce Young's going to be a stud in the NFL. There's not a doubt in my mind. I've watched basically every game he's played in college, except for like, Furman and like the games, they're going to win 60-10. Like I watched the highlights of those games, but all the other games I watch, he's a badass. He is so freaking clutch, LA. Like Jalen Hurts, right? Okay, like he was super clutch in college. And what have we seen in the NFL? He's super clutch, okay? Like
he's been compared to Jalen Hurts a lot in these conversations I've been listening to about the draft.
So he's ready, guys. He's coming in. He's battle tested. He's seasoned. He's groomed. He's mature, all that kind of stuff. He's small. I don't care. It's different now, LA. It's different. 10, 15 years ago, no, it wouldn't have worked. And the NFL wouldn't have allowed it to work, okay? They would tell this guy to change positions that long ago. But now everything's opened up and we have positionless basketball. We have tiny quarterbacks and we have, it's just all different now.
He has to go to a team that can protect him. He
Bingo.
has to go to a team with good protection. That's going to be the only thing that keeps him on the field. And when you're that high of a draft pick, you know what happens. You kind of got to go to a shit team sometimes, which isn't fair. But the conversation of Chicago and Houston trading, like, I don't think Chicago should move away from Justin Fields at all. I think that's just stupid. I think he showed himself last season. He's got another season to do the work. But Bryce Young, it's going to be so selective on where he lands if he can succeed at the same level that he did in college.
Look, I agree with everything you're saying. And Houston's offensive line, obviously,
trash.
It needs a lot of help. They have a lot of draft picks to get.
They do.
And I believe they have a lot of cap space too. So they've got some ability to make moves there. But I like him more than CJ Stroud. And don't even get me started on Will Levis. Maybe that's a question we'll get to here in a little bit. But I like Bryce Young a lot. I'm not worried about the size. And I've talked to multiple NFL players, like big boy NFL players. Both of these human beings that I talked to were big guys in the NFL. Okay, and I asked about Bryce Young's size, and they said I have no concern about it at all. The guy's a baller. He's a stud, and they have ways of protecting him by moving pockets and bringing in an extra tight end or an extra lineman if they need to. There's just ways to protect your diminutive quarterback, and so I'm not really worried about that. Now,
I gotta say this. If he does come into the NFL and play really well, he's going to open the door for us to stop having that exact conversation of, hey, it's not an option. He's not tall enough. He doesn't weigh enough. He could still be at a really high metabolism weight where he doesn't put on weight easily either and could develop into his body. We see this with NBA players when they first come in. We see them develop into their body, but he could really change that narrative. And it's got to be hard for him because it's the only thing people talk to him about is his size. And it's not like you can't lift weights and get taller, right? There's nothing he can do about it, but he in his mind knows how brilliant he is when it comes to being out there and dicing out that ball.
Russell Wilson is a short quarterback, right? And obviously he went too far, came in out of shape. He had dad bod, but I mean, he was rocked up in Seattle. Like he had muscle and a coat of armor and could take hits. And so, will Bryce Young get there? I think he's got a little bit of a different body type just in terms of mass than Russell Wilson. But he does have to put on some muscle in a little bit of a coat of armor. But to your point, he's not going to grow anymore. He's not. This is the height he's going to be. That's why you got to move the pocket. That's why he's got to move around and find passing lanes like Drew Brees did. Okay, that's why Drew Brees came out with kind of a rag arm and he was tiny. He had 2 hits against him. He's a top 10 quarterback all time. This can happen. All right, so to the new Hopkins thing. Let me just
interject with this one thing. Was it a dad bod that Russell Wilson had, or was it a father figure?
I like it.
It's a dad joke.
I like it. That was good. No, it took me to like the George Michael song. I don't know why. My wife Charity loves George Michael. Like, Yeah, and you know what? When it's the father figure, have you seen the movie Keanu, the Gangster Cat? Have you seen that movie? Please tell
No,
me you've
I'm
seen that
not.
movie.
No.
Oh my God, you haven't seen Keanu? You
I
haven't
will.
seen with Keegan and Peele? You haven't seen that movie?
I have not. Sorry to say. I
Do
will
you?
look it up.
It's wacky, zany, goofy
By the way, our
comedy.
producers are about to cut off my mic. That joke was so bad. I'm about to end the show. I thought it was great. Okay.
LA, I thought it was great too. Hey, producers, stay out of this. All right.
Let's get this D Hop in before we
All right.
take
All
a
right.
little break in a couple of minutes. But let's
You gotta watch
because
Keanu, the Gangster Cat. You gotta watch this movie. It's phenomenal.
and Get in the Game says, look, it's more the weight than the height. It's about durability. But again, durability can be protected if he is with the right team, with the right line, right?
Yeah.
We see players like, I'll use Tom Brady for an example, who never allowed himself to get hit his last couple of seasons. He stayed in the pocket. He was very careful. He would just get rid of the ball, though it's not what we want and it's not ideal if he goes into the right system. So let's go to DeAndre, because one of our listeners here, let's see what getting in the game. He says D-Hop would put the Cowboys over the top and compliment to CD. I agree with that too. I would love to see D-Hop in Dallas, but I'm still pining for Odell Beckham.
Yeah, it can't happen in Dallas. They got too much money assigned to other guys. Like, you would be trading for Nuke Hopkins, you would be trading for his contract, and he makes a ton of money. That's why, to me, the Giants are the team. Here's what I'm doing, LA. I'm saying bye-bye to Saquon Barkley. You want 14, 15, 16 million dollars a year? Bye. See ya.
Why don't you just franchise tag him?
Because they might have to do that with Daniel Jones, depending on what he wants.
Daniel Jones just switched his agent. And by the way, Daniel Jones could make more money just accepting the tag. I know that's not what he wants to do. But that's really the question here in New York, is everybody's like, who do you cut? Who do you franchise tag? Who do you pay? Who do you cut? It's a choice. It's a choice that has to be made. I still think Saquon has some legs to him. Saquon had a great season. He has a lot of value. And New York loves him. He is the New York Giants. He's been through multiple coaching transitions. His first full season, Dayball really did magic there. Like, I don't want to break up the band.
I'm a Saquon Barkley guy. Okay, I am. I covered him at Penn State and watched this freak of nature coming up. He's a badass. He is a special running back. But he ain't worth that money, man. No running back on planet Earth is worth 14, 15, 16 million dollars. Not even Derrick Henry, not CMC. These guys aren't worth that, okay? They don't.
I would like to clarify the 14, 15. Let's go if it's 15. You get luxury tax, goes down to 7.5 because they're paying 50%. You get manager, agent, lawyers. It's like, let's say 10. Maybe 8 is going to Saquon.
I get it, but if I'm the team, I'm not worried about Uncle Sam's impact on Saquon Barkley. I don't give a dang about that.
By the way, whenever it's signing day, the first thing I think of is the most happy person on signing day for everyone is Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam. Here we go.
I think about it. Every single sport, when a player gets a contract, I'm like, Uncle Sam, hold my beer.
You know who the biggest winner is when you're watching Family Feud or you're watching Wheel of Fortune or some
Uncle
game
Sam.
show? Uncle freaking Sam. These are winnings. These people have to pay taxes on their winnings.
Are you using a remote for your pointer?
Yes, I don't know. I'm talking with my hands here, like Chris Berman. Boom,
we're gonna tackle this D-Hop topic because our producer just brought up a great one. Can D-Hop play in cold weather? He's only played in the South.
Stop it. I think that is such an overrated factor in the NFL. I
What are you
really
talking
do.
about? Derek Carr has the absolute worst cold weather record of any quarterback. And this is silly that the Jets are willing to do this to themselves when he can't win in the cold.
Well, all I know is you can point to me about, the Buccaneers up in Green Bay or the Dolphins up in New England. Okay, I get it. I get all that stuff. But by and large, when we have a big game, a playoff game, oh my God, it's going to be 5 degrees, the overhits. Or it did. We overreact to that. I promise you this. The players are like, it's 5 degrees. Who cares? We're playing football today. Okay, let's go. Let's kick some ass. Let's win this game. It's a huge monster game. I just think it's an overrated aspect. Unless there's wind, I'm not really, or like huge amounts of snow.
What if their
I'm not letting the weather get into my brain.
But what if their record of wins and losses, the numbers are there. Numbers don't lie, Rick. If Derek Carr has a bad record in cold weather, it's a fact.
Well, like I said, like I think if you got Derek Carr in a cold weather city where he was only playing in cold weather, I think he would get up to speed with playing in cold weather and be better, as opposed to being a warm weather quarterback periodically going into cold weather scenarios, and he's not used to it, and it's like a whole outlier for him. I think if he's in it.
So you see D-Hop as a great fit. You see D-Hop. So you don't see D-Hop no matter what staying in Arizona. I don't either. I don't think he stays with Kyler, even though Kyler might not even play for the entire season because of the injury that he had late in the season, has to go through that surgery.
The Cardinals are, pardon me, the Cardinals are trading the wrong guy, first of all. I'd be trading Kyler Murray right now. I would. Right now before, we
Can you trade him injured?
Yeah, I mean, I would. I would not want him on my football team anymore. I would not. After what I just saw last year, like that was gross. No, bye. And I can still get a lot for Kyler Murray. Even hurt, right? The way the quarterback market is, what Seattle got for Russell Wilson, what Detroit got for Matt Stafford, what Houston got for Deshaun Watson. Oh, yeah, I'm getting that for Kyler Murray at what, 25 years old, 26 years old. And people would look at me like, you're nuts. How are you trading this guy? I'm like, go ahead, spend a year with him. You tell me how you like that. Jonathan Gannon, their new coach, said he's not sure if Nuke Hopkins is going to be with the Cardinals in 2023. Ding, that's your answer right there.
Yep.
The head coach at the Combine is insured. That means they're working on a trade right now as we speak, folks. Nuke Hopkins will not be a Cardinal this upcoming season. So
but
what I'm doing,
the Giants make that decision before they make their decision with Daniel Jones, or do they need to like handle that paperwork first to see what pieces are moving and what money they're playing with in the salary cap?
It's all a great question. I mean, they got to figure all that out. But I'm just letting you know, there are going to be 1 million free agent running backs, plus the guys coming out in the draft. You don't need Saquon Barkley. You're going to be able to go out and get a guy, get two guys, split up the position, go like Kansas City just did. They just won the championship with two also-rans at running back, okay? Not even their first-round pick, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We're talking about Jerick McKinnon off the scrap heap late, and Isaiah Pacheco a late
Clyde Edwards-Helaire
pick.
did not go to the parade because he was part of a fashion show for Fashion Week. He chose Fashion Week over the celebration parade for his team.
Well, I didn't know that. That's great. And you always bring this great, like, I'm on this side and you're on this side with a lot of the stuff we follow and research and stuff. It's so fun to come together and get all this, like, other side material.
Because it blew my mind. It blew my mind. I'm like, what? It's in a parade.
You know what it is? It's two middle fingers to the Chiefs. Like, you draft me, you groom me, you just ditched me for Pacheco and McKinnon? Like, I thought I was your guy. I'm not your guy. You got a new girl now. So go have fun with her, your new girl. I'll be over here at a damn fashion show, okay? Have your little champagne, your little cigars and stuff.
These kids are so into fashion. It's absolutely adorable. But
LA, look, Daniel Jones, is he a deep ball thrower? Occasionally to Slayton. But what I know Danny Dimes to be is it like an in-between the hash marks guy. Throws a really good slant pass, a really good dig route, like that, like the intermediate stuff. Not like all like dump off and check down stuff, but the intermediate stuff. He's good at throwing those balls. That's where Nuke Hopkins lives and thrives. And by the way, the Giants got to have a red zone option to throw the football to. He is incredible in the red zone. You could put two dudes on him, LA. Just high point the ball, okay? And he goes up and he grabs it with two hands. He's got guys all over him, and he's an awesome contested pass catcher.
He's
exactly
some
what they need.
That are he is a playmaker. He will make it happen. And that's the biggest difference of what he can bring. Also, you're looking at a younger squad in New York with the Giants, having that veteran presence. I don't know how much he's willing to contribute at this point. He is 30 years old, could be a bit, as our producer said, set in his ways. But I'd like to carry on that conversation. We'll continue that. And also, I think maybe after this break, it's fair. I tweeted out my draft. My first mock draft of the season. I'm going to tell you my biggest regret in round one. I understand that you weren't able to get the whole board. I'll make sure you have it the next time. But with my first pick, I will tell you who I passed up when we get back from the break. You're listening to Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla right here on Bettor Sports Live on the Bettor Sports Network.
Moose and Keith. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern.
The word genius is there. Bob Glover, it describes him. Bob, so when's the last time that Twitter defeated you? Because I've been defeated by Twitter today.
I'll tell you how Twitter defeated me one time. I had the mistaken impression that the year that Troy Polamalu won the Defensive Player of the Year, it looked like it was going to go to Clay Matthews Jr. And I tweeted it. And there was a guy on the media bus. He was like, oh, yeah, he's got it, a guy I trust. I won't tell you who it was, but his initials are Mike Garafalo. So I went with it. Got a DM from Rich Eisen, NFL Network. He goes, you sure about that? I go, oh, man. Oh, I just got this wave because like accuracy to me is really important. So I'm literally on the media bus. We're just getting back from media day. We are slipping and sliding in Dallas. It's snowing. I get off the bus. I open my laptop. I am hunched over, and I just like literally people are passing me. Bob, what's wrong? And it was Polamalu, and Adam Schefter had retweeted me. Trey Wingo had retweeted me. I'm like, I'm dead.
So when it's Polamalu, then how do you handle that? Like, what was the subsequent tweet
I think
afterwards?
I said, got some bad Twitter info. I didn't put Garafalo's name on there. I had
10 years later, you can out him. I like that. Yeah.
You know, he wouldn't mind that. He knows the stories.
Yeah.
He actually said to me, hey, Bob, I think you might have jumped the gun on that. I was like, oh, crap. There we go.
Campus to Canton on the Bettor Sports Network.
Would Dion bench Shedeur?
I don't think he would.
Like, how bad would it have to be? Because we've seen horrendous quarterback play from this Colorado team for the last, 4 years, 5 years? JT Shroud, Brandon Lewis, just terrible quarterback play. Like, they were 131st, which is dead last in pass EPA per play. Obviously, it will be better, but how bad does it have to be for him to bench his own son? Like, I'm not sure he will ever either, like, especially with the attitude that he came in with.
If they don't get Rashada, who do they bench him for this year anyway? I don't know that there's another answer on that roster that you go to. They don't really have a guy behind him. So I don't even know if we would know the answer to that until the next year, assuming that, he doesn't declare for the draft, he returns, they bring somebody else that's competent and behind him.
If they're going to do this the Lincoln Riley way, next year would be the class to bring somebody in. Shedeur Sanders is going to be a third-year player. So he's going to play 2023. I don't think he's declaring for the 2024 NFL draft. So he's going to play in 2024 and then declare for the 2025 NFL draft. And let's remember this. He hasn't had a full recruiting cycle at Colorado. He will have that next recruiting cycle. So maybe he could get one of these class of 2024 quarterbacks there to come to Colorado.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Bettor Sports Network.
Okay. Oh, this is a shout out to the Mets Trumpets. That's what we got going on here. Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla back with you on Bettor Sports Live on the Bettor Sports Network. Golf talk is fun with the Tour Junkies, now playing on BSN On Demand. Here, David Barnett and Pat Perry take a victory lap for Chris Kirk's win at the Honda Classic. Give their betting approach to this week's Arnold Palmer Invitational and Puerto Rico Open and take an early look at the odds for the Masters. Get winning advice on golf picks and daily DFS fantasy sports and betting on the Tour Junkies, now playing on demand with the Bettor Sports Network app. I got to say, this is funny. So Liquid Death released iced teas, right? Liquid Death is just water, comes in these cans. Their slogan is murder your thirst, death to plastic. And the names are great because, the Arnold Palmer, it's called Armless Palmer. Armless, okay? So they did the Arnold Palmer. Grim Leafer for another tea. And then
Is there cannabis in that one with the leaf thing?
There's no. It's just tea. It's just tea. And this one says Rest in Peach.
I like it.
Because
that's
it's all
pretty catchy.
based around
I like that.
Very catchy. So let's talk about what I mentioned beforehand. My very first mock draft. I did this one on Draft Wizard because it's very time efficient. It just speeds through all of the other picks for you in like 2 seconds. And then you get your top 5 picks. They rank them. They give you the stats that you need. I don't always go for the player they put as like 96% because I'm writing notes, stolen bases, like some things I might be trying to hone in on. I passed on Juan Soto in the first round. And that felt bad by the second round. I regretted that by the second round. But again, you're looking at my team right now, so you can probably see on here who I went with first.
Okay, so let me I've got your team right here. Let me take a guess at who you took over him. You took Trey Turner over Juan Soto, didn't you?
I don't think it was Trey Turner with the first pick. I really wish I would have had that first round because we only have 6 through 13 here. But let's do this. Let's go through 6 through 13 because that's going to help us a ton. But at this team, I never, ever, ever go by these grades. I got an A, 94 out of 100. I feel like it's pretty worthless because it doesn't really stand up. Yahoo gives. How do you feel about grades after you've done a draft or after you've done a mock draft? Do you feel they're accurate, or do you feel it's kind of an unrealistic, like it would be great if all of them stayed healthy? There's so many other variables involved, right?
Well, here's the thing. You know me, LA. I'm a very, very humble guy, with a couple of exceptions. Fantasy sports being one of them. I am not going to let anybody tell me how my team is going to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's my team. I drafted it, and I didn't just willy-nilly draft it. I draft with a strategy in mind and a methodology in mind, right? So, and by the way, I'm very, very different, okay? I punt starting pitching at the beginning of drafts. Who does that? Probably just me, okay? So Yahoo and these draft rating services are not going to like my draft, LA. They're going to look at my team and be like, your team sucks. And be like,
sure.
I'll prove you wrong over the course of the season. But I think it's a good look for you that they loved your draft. This is your first mock draft. And you're not like, you know, you haven't been playing fantasy baseball since 1986 like me. You know what I'm saying? So
no, I took some years off of the fantasy baseball life.
I know you did.
And now here I am back at it. I will tell you, the one player that I definitely wanted to have was Josh Hader. And I'll tell you why. I don't know if you remember what happened to Josh Hader his very first day on the mound as an MLB pitcher. Do you remember this, Rick?
Maybe refresh my memory. What happened?
So there were some people that didn't like him, and they had found some unsavory tweets, and they waited to release them the day he's on the mound pitching his first MLB game. And these were tweets from when he was very young. I mean, you and I don't know what it would have been like to have Twitter at 13, 14 years old. The dumb things you could have said that were meaningless at that point didn't even have as much ammo behind them as how people would take them to be meant. You're a kid, you're just being silly, right? And that really affected him. He's out on the mound. When he goes back in the dugout, it's like alert the media. The world is crumbling down around Josh Hader. And I got to give this kid credit for being able to overcome that. Imagine the additional anxiety every time he walked out on the mound for the first month, 2 months after that, of remembering what he went through, what he had to face in the presser after that game. And he's put together a pretty nice career for himself out there on the mound. So he was a get for me.
I'm not mad at any of that. He's the off the top of me, he's the best closer in the game. I mean, there's nobody I'd rather have at that spot. I mean, he's on Slam Diego. They're going to win the World Series, in my opinion. He might have 50 saves this year. Like, he legit might have 50 freaking saves. 40, I think is a really safe estimate. And I don't know, LA. There's probably 10 guys that are going to have 30 saves. Okay, the way there's a lot of committee bullpens right now, and I don't like it. It is what it is. That's why closers, I've been noticing in a lot of the drafts I've been doing, closers are going so much earlier than I'm used to them going. The Edwin Diaz, the Josh Haders, even the Kenley Jansen's, like the big boy closers are going in the third round, in the fourth round, in the fifth round. And you know what I've said to you? I'm waiting until like round 7, 8, 9 to start banging closers. And guess what? I'm getting, Doval from San Fran. I'm getting Lang from Detroit.
You're getting scrubs. You're getting scrubs.
They're not scrubs, but they're not the big boys, right?
Right.
Because there's other guys lurking in the San Fran bullpen, but I do feel good about him. Bautista with Baltimore, guys like that. Like, they should have really good seasons, but the closer spot has really been complicated and weird this year. And I've really noticed that it's because of all the committees, and there's so many bullpens that are unsettled that it's shooting these guys that have the job permanently to the top. So LA. All right. So breaking
and by the way, you all can go on my timeline. The tweet went out. I will retweet it right now in case you're following along and you want to see what this team looks like. Okay. So, Rick, you can break it down while I find this tweet and pump it back out there.
I love your pitching. I
Okay.
freaking love your pitching. Okay. Carlos Rodon, love it. Sonny Gray, I'm invested in him in a bunch of leagues. I think he's going to have a pop year with the Twins. LA, he's in a contract year. God, there's so much stuff in my brain. I'm 99% sure he's in a contract year. I think Minnesota's going to win that division this year. They've got a really good starting pitching staff and a really good bullpen. I think their pitching is going to be amazing. Josh Hader, you got Christian Javier, who's going to have probably a 15-win, 3.20 ERA season in Houston. Yu Darvish, beast. Tyler Glasnow, beast. Logan Gilbert, beast. Freddie Peralta, beast is probably strong, but he's a strikeout pitcher and he's really good, and they're going to win games there. Okay. You're light in closers. Obviously, you have Hader. You need more. And I know this is a mock draft team here, but obviously, like I like to have several closers and just like dominate that category. So that is a shortcoming of this team, but that's fine. You can get closers as the year go along, just like a running back in football. And I'll get to your offense in a minute, but you got 3 bench players that aren't pitchers. And in LA, I thought we talked about this, right? I'm kidding. But you've got Ketel Marte, Cody Bellinger, and Andrew Benintendi as your bench guys. Did you not go with pitchers to get more volume in the pitching categories because you felt a little wishy-washy with some of your offensive players and you wanted more coverage at those positions? Or did you just like Marte, Bellinger, and Benintendi?
Well, this is why I mock draft, because you get lost in the moment and sometimes it's really easy to forget to prioritize. Like I'll usually have a notepad. It'll be like, okay, pitchers, relievers, first base, second base. I just put a check so I know what I'm covering. And obviously from not playing since I want to say 2015, I was looking at like the NFL mindset or the NBA mindset where it's like, oh, I want to have a back bar of running backs in case somebody gets hurt. I want to have a couple extra tight ends, so I don't have to pick one up on the wire during bye weeks, right? But it's changing the thought process to fantasy baseball being so important and so heavy in the pitching. And as soon as I was done with this draft and I looked at it, I'm like, how can you give me an A when I don't have any pitchers on my bench? And that's why I don't really go by the scoring, because sure, they're looking at the talent there, but they're not looking at the depth that I have when it comes to the fact that I've got to set a lineup and have enough players on the mound for every team.
No, you're right. Just like, again, we're just exchanging opinions here. Ketel Marte had one big year. Okay. Like he is so average. He is not on my list. I literally will not take Ketel Marte. Cody Bellinger. Okay. Until he fixes his swing and stops trying to hit a 1,000-foot home run every single time he swings that bat, he's dead to me. He's going to hit 200. He's going to have some home runs. He plays a mean center field, LA. That, as you know, that doesn't matter for us.
No
okay?
stats for that. No stats.
There's no stats for that. And then Benintendi is a high average hitter. Okay, that's great, but no steals, no homers. He's very light in the RBIs. And so I'm just not into those 3 guys. But so do you want to go into some picks here? I want you to steer this.
Yeah,
but I got round 7 through 16 to evaluate if you want to go there.
Yeah, let's do that. But let's go through my entire lineup so everybody knows. I've got Pete Alonso, so I did get one Met. That was important to me. Ryan McMahon, Trey Turner, Ty France, Michael Harris II, Tyler O'Neill, Ahmad Rosario, Christian Walker, and Nico Hoerner. And by the way, under my tweet that I put this out earlier, the only person that responded to my tweet was Bettor Boss. And he says, Hoerner is my favorite pick you made. He'll be good for steals and batting average. If he can hit the ball harder or barrel the bat more consistently, you've got yourself a breakout, because we know that Bettor Boss likes the embryos.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. You're hilarious. I mean, look, there's several of these players that I'm into. Pete Alonso, heavily invested in him. I love Pete Alonso.
He gets a
Pete
star.
Alonso.
He gets a star.
I'm obsessed with home runs and steals, LA. Obsessed. If you're playing head-to-head, like, you know me, I don't like roto leagues, okay? So I don't even want to. Head-to-head leagues, it always comes down on Sunday in a weekly setup to home runs and steals. For me, that's what I found.
Yep.
I got to have those categories, all right? So Pete Alonso obviously is phenomenal with that. I'm not a huge Ryan McMahon guy. I'm okay with him, like, because you got him kind of deep. All right, he's it's second base. It's not like shortstops. There's a million of them. There's not a million second basemen. So not crazy about that pick, but he's okay. He'll hit home runs and get RBIs for you. Trey Turner's a monster. The home runs, the steals, the batting average. He's a freaking freak. Ty France doesn't steal. Little light in the home runs. Good batting average guy. Should be a good RBI guy. I'm kind of like that on Ty France. Michael Harris II, I love him. He's going to hit dingers. He's going to steal bags for you. Tyler O'Neill, you need him, right, to get back to let's see here, 2021. He had 30 homers and 84 RBI. Last year, obviously, he wasn't very good. Ahmed Rosario had a really good year last year for Cleveland. You need him to keep that up. I'm not a Christian Walker guy. He's not a batting average guy. He had 1 million home runs last year, but will he do that again? I don't know. And then a Honer, I feel like Chicago made so many moves, LA, and they've got so many new guys, and they're like actually suddenly kind of deep right now at a lot of their positions offensively. And he's kind of like a multiple position guy. I'm not sure there's going to be 500 at bats for Nico Hoerner. There might be, but he's not real high on my list right now either.
Well, next week you will get it. Oh, actually, you won't get a draft next week because I'm on vacation. I'm so sorry. And I plan to not fantasy baseball draft on my vacation. But when I get back from my vacation, you will get the full draft board.
Okay, let's do it.
And we will continue to do this because I like to keep these. I keep them in a folder. I look back. It helps me each draft moving forward. What did I miss on? And if I could ask you one important question that I found myself faced with when I sat down for this draft. What is the deepest position? I think you mentioned it, shortstop. Is shortstop the deepest position that I need to be worried about the least this year in fantasy baseball drafts?
Yeah, I would say yes, LA, because you usually need at least three outfielders. Some leagues it's 4, some leagues it's 5. It's very hard to find that many quality outfielders to plug in all of those spots. Okay. So outfield is I'm nailing outfielders at the beginning of the draft.
Okay.
First base is another position where it's real top heavy. And at about 6 or 7, it starts to get kind of thin. At 6 or 7, right? So only half of the teams in your league are going to have a studded first base.
So first base this year is like tight end in the NFL.
Yes. So Freddie Freeman, Pete Alonso, Matt Olson, Goldschmidt, guys like that, target them early. And I'm talking edge of the first round, second round. Do not be afraid to bang these guys at that point. Outfielders, like I'm big on like a Rosarena, right? 20 homers, 25 steals, like the guys that are going to be balanced and help me in both of those categories. Because in head-to-head leagues, LA, you're going to be going into Sunday. It's going to be if it's a 5x5, it's going to be 5-5, 4-6, 6-4, and it's going to come down to those two categories. And you're going to want guys that are going to click off those categories that day, as opposed to hoping, oh my God, I hope this guy gets a steal. You got Michael Harris, you got a Rosarena, you got Starling Marte, you got guys like that. Like you have a very good chance of getting the steals you need.
So here's the deal. Like I was committed this weekend where I was like, you know what? It's going to be fantasy baseball all weekend. I'm going to study while I like work on my computer, manage content,
and watch
like
golf.
Do all this stuff.
Watch golf.
Then, and golf was going to be in the background, of course. But then I got into some, college basketball. And I was like, well, this is what I want to listen to. I can watch golf without the volume on and know what's happening. And when something big happens, just turn on the volume. But you got to listen to college basketball, especially if you're planning on getting into brackets, and really getting into bracketology, which I plan to do this season. I've got a ton of spots that I'm doing out in Vegas. I'm going to visit VSiN. So, I got to be listening because I want to be like writing notes, like this guy's best rebounder in the whole tournament right now. Like these are the things I need to know. So I kind of fell off a little bit, but this gives me good notes. And now I'll just start mock drafting regularly and find that sweet spot. But it's really important each year to know where the depth is so good that you could wait a little bit and where it's not, and I'm not one that wants to grab a tight end in fantasy football in round 1 or 2, but we know that's where George Kittle and Travis Kelce are going. We know that Travis Kelce proves to us year in and year out that it's worth it, but it's still just not something I'm used to doing.
No, me either. But I'll probably this year, I'm already one draft in, the super early draft that Matt Deutsch put together. And I told you I regretted it. I was like first, second, or third pick. I took Jonathan Taylor, and I was like, No, I'm not doing this anymore. Okay. I'm building with receivers this upcoming year because I'm very confident that I'm going to be able to get running backs in the 5th, 6th, 7th round that are a part of committees, but they're almost all a part of committees and they break down and stuff. So I'm going to be going for the Justin Jeffersons, the Jamar Chases, the Cooper Kupps.
Jamar Chase is money. I mean, I've been heavy on Jamar Chase the last 2 seasons. Like Jamar Chase is money.
Yeah, like Kelsey in the 2nd round. Like I would never do that in previous years, right? I might do that this year. Okay,
Yeah,
the guy's a touchdown machine.
We have to adjust to the cycle that we see. Pacheco was a player that we picked up in the last round of a draft to see if we could hold him through bye weeks, which we couldn't. And then he finishes the season really strong. But Kelsey was consistent the whole time. Jamar Chase, once Joe Burrow picked things up, Jamar Chase was consistent the whole time. But, consistent is usually you. So it's time for us right now at this point in the show to touch base with Ricky's props one more time. Let's see how we're looking. None of these games are final yet, but the Knicks are now up 110-87 on the Nets, 11:48 left in the 4th quarter. Celtics are taking down the Cavs as we expected, 96-78. But let's look at your players. Tyler Hero, over 27.5 combo. That's the points, rebounds, and assists. How is Tyler Hero doing for you tonight? The hand to the face is never really the face palm.
God.
The face palm is never.
God. I would love to cuss right now, but I won't. I won't. No struggle bus here. Like you talk, but it is a roller coaster of emotions with the props that we put out. We want to win. Okay. We're not trying to hand out losers here. Okay, the scoreboard here tells us all we need to know. You don't even need to look at the box score.
I'm looking at the box score right now. Heroes put up a whopping 11 points, but they're getting smacked down by the 76ers. So
102-77. That's the score of this game, folks. 102-77. Nothing I can do. Not my fault. It's their fault. But Tyler Hero obviously is not going to hit the over on his combo prop here tonight. He's at 11, 1, and 5. Points, rebounds, and assists. So that's 17. We need to get to 27.5, I believe was the number. So that ain't happening. That's a no.
All right, we're going to go to the second one over here, which is Donovan Mitchell at Boston. Looking at the box score right now. How are you feeling about it?
Feeling spectacular about it because
feeling spectacular. You had Donovan Mitchell at Boston over 25.5 points. My boy is at 34 points right now.
I'm trying to look it up here real quick because I had this Phoenix game on. Oh my God. I did Donovan Mitchell on Twitter, right? And it came at Donovan Mitchell over. So people are probably talking about the over on his prop right now. I want to know how many points he had in the 3rd quarter. Okay. Because he had obviously just kind of a lame first half. He had a gigantic 3rd quarter. Here it is, 19 points. In the 3rd quarter to get up to 34. Yes, we got a winner for the people, LA, in his name. We don't even need the 4th quarter for this one. We already have a winner. That feels good.
The kid is playing for you. By the way, the Suns-Hornets game is final. Looking at that, total points, Suns 105 over the Hornets 91. My big thing is looking at Durant right here. First game back with his new team. First game playing, 23 points, 2 assists. 6 rebounds. I mean, like Durant just doing Durant-like things. And look at Devin Booker getting better with Durant on the floor, putting up 37 points tonight for the Suns.
Yeah.
It's a big night for Booker.
This is actually how I expected it to go, LA, because we talked about Kevin Durant is he's a laid back alpha. I thought he would just kind of try to blend. Look, he's never hit 30 plus in any of his debuts with Seattle, with Golden State, or with Brooklyn. They've all been in the 20s, just like tonight. So that I saw that from stat views, and I'm like, that's a trend. Like, I don't think Kevin Durant's going ballistic tonight. He's a laid back alpha. He was on a bit of a minutes restriction too, but he's going to show up and not try to dominate. He's going to show up and try to blend in.
Yeah.
Right. He's not like the
he's a true contributor on the court. There's no doubt about it. He makes everybody around him better.
He's not the badass alpha though, like the alpha. He's a laid back alpha.
Yep.
So I kind of anticipated Booker having a big game tonight because Durant would basically sort of defer to him. And that's what happened. And then, Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton kind of getting in where they fit in. They did cover. Phoenix did cover. It was kind of touch and go there in the fourth quarter. They ended up winning, I believe, by 15, LA. Correct me if I'm wrong. They were laying 10, so they did cover.
You had Malik Beasley, and let's talk about this Lakers Thunder game right now. There's 4 minutes and 56 seconds left in the third quarter. Thunder's up 77-71 on the Lakers, but the Lakers are playing a good game, keeping this that close without having your boy Anthony Davis on the court. How are you feeling about Malik Beasley? I'm looking at his stats right now. I know you are too. Beasley right here, 11 points. So you needed the under to hit for Beasley, 25.5 combo points. So you wanted under on that. It looks like you are going to be right there. Now we still got time in this game.
Yeah, so he's at 15 with 11, 3, and 1. If he gets to 26, we lose. If he's 25 or below, help me out, LA. Was his 25.5, I believe
25.5 is the combo.
Yeah, so he's got, we got 11 here of cushion. OKC with the 6-point lead. We're about 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. This one's literally a 50-50 right now. I'm not trying to unpack the bet. I still have confidence that we will hit this, but this one is close. It's close. I think we're trending towards winning, though. I would say that.
I pretty much think that the Nets would like somebody to pull the fire drill at MSG right now, so this game could be over. But instead, they must face the next 10 minutes in this fourth quarter, and the score right now is 114-87.
But we got a winner. Mikal Bridges under 28.5 combo points, rebounds, and assists. He is not going to hit that, folks, and he's not going to hit that. Oh, by the hair of our chinny chin chin. He's got 21 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. That's 27. Okay.
Yeah, but this game's still going. There's 10 minutes left, boy.
He ain't playing. He ain't coming back in this game. And so this is literally why I wanted to play Mikal Bridges, is because I thought New York was going to thrash Brooklyn tonight. Okay. So, we got to look for the blowouts, LA, and avoid them or target them if we can. And I told you in the first half hour of our show that I really like the Knicks tonight, -7.5. I really, really like that. I thought they were going to smash Brooklyn tonight, so they are. But we got 9.5 left in the fourth. We've got a 25-point game. I would be shocked if they put Mikal Bridges back in this game. So I think we're going to win this under because of the blowout factor. So there you go.
And we've got another one right here, the last one that you put out there that, again, everyone, we put these props out there on Twitter, Ricky's Props at Bettor Network. Make sure you're following. Make sure you're sharing the tweets. Cole Anthony at Milwaukee, over 15.5 for the combo, points, rebounds, and assists. Right now, the Bucks are up 88-72. There is 7:35 left in the third quarter. So there's a lot of time left, but what are you feeling about this? This is going to be a win. Cole Anthony, this is going to hit for you, which makes you pretty hot tonight.
Winner. We're kind of piping hot tonight. He's got 16 points.
Yeah, he only needed 15.5 combo.
15.5 combo. He's got 16. He's got 2 rebounds, 3 assists. That doesn't even matter. We are mid-third, and Cole Anthony hit the combo prop with his points. There you go. I told you, how dare the odds makers disrespect my young fella, Cole Anthony, with a 15.5 combo prop. It was disrespectful, LA.
Let's go back to Would You Rather. What's more likely? Everybody there can chime in the chat. We talked a little bit about Bryce Young. We talked a little bit about DeAndre Hopkins. So here's a good one for you. And this is going to rely a lot on what happens here with this surgery. Brock Purdy or Trey Lance starts for the Niners in week 1. Brock Purdy's surgery was put off another month because he had inflammation. That concerns me for him coming back too soon. This is similar to a Tommy John, but not exactly Tommy John. He doesn't need the amount of months, which is to purely recover from a Tommy John, is 15 months. But he does need enough time to be able to get in a throwing arm by camp, which I don't think he'll have, which to me makes it seem like Trey Lance is going to be the starter for the Niners in week 1.
Sing it, LA, sing it. I love hearing your takes on these, man. And so I totally agree. I totally agree with your read on Purdy. LA, I'm concerned, man. Like if people are making it sound like, yo, he's got basically the Tommy John issue and like, oh, he'll be ready for training camp.
That's just silly.
How?
And also,
why? Like, I don't even get it. Like,
hypothetically speaking, if you feel that a player that was this incredible at this young of an age would even be ready, why would you force him back?
There you go.
Why wouldn't you allow it to work out? And you got to see what he's got. He's got to look, he could come back better, but it doesn't mean he's going to be ready even by preseason. And I just think it's a silly thing to even consider rushing him back because he's got such a long future ahead of him. Players are going to stand by him. When he comes back, he's going to be just as well received as he was. As far as he took him, like Mr. Irrelevant this year was pretty awesome. All right, here's our next one.
And you have Trey Lance. It's not like you don't have like a good. So I think Trey Lance is going to be the guy, LA. And just another quick little reading of the tea leaves from the combine. The GM John Lynch told reporters the team will have to consider signing a veteran quarterback. There's your answer. He just told you Brock Purdy's not going to be ready for the start of the season. We got to get another homie up in here that can throw the football. That's your answer right there. Because there was a report that Trey Lance is going to be ready for all the offseason workouts. Trey Lance is going to be the QB of the Niners next year.
Well, Trey Lance was injured much earlier than Brock Purdy in the season, so that helps him. That's the advantage of getting him back out there. Look, he was loved too. He was playing well as well. To have riches and young quarterbacks at a cheap price is pretty good for what the Niners, what did they bring in a veteran quarterback for like $3 million, like an Andy Dalton, something like come on, you're fine. All right, Leonard Fournette. Did playoff Lenny overplay his hand in asking out or played it just right by asking out? What say you?
So I'll give you my take here. I really need to hear your take here because you're so street smart and so savvy. And so here's my take though. I think he overplayed his hand. Under contract with Tampa Bay. Based on what is being reported, they weren't going to bounce him. He asked out. He asked for a release because he wants to win. Nah, because I'm not sure how many winners are going to want Leonard Fournette. Okay, he might have played his way out of the league right now. I hope that's not the case. I like Leonard Fournette. I think he's a really good catcher of the ball. But damn, he looked slow and bad last year for Tampa Bay. Yes, offensive line problems. I get it. But where was the zip? Where was the juice? Where was the burst? It wasn't there. He was just a guy, kind of like Zeke Elliott in Dallas. Like, yo, you're pretty clearly on the other side of your prime. So I think he overplayed his hand, LA. If I were Leonard Fournette, given the uncertainty of his career and what's next, I would have just stayed put and taken the Tampa Bay Buccaneers money this year, even if it was going to be a 5-12 season, rather than thinking I could parlay a championship 2 years ago or whatever into a gig with a winner in the NFL. I don't know if a winner in the NFL is going to want to employ him this year. Talk to me.
Okay, hell no. I don't think he overplayed his hand. I think what he did was really smart because he knows that they're not going to win. He knows that, yes, the line was an issue, but he got a bad rap last season by not having the opportunities. He was going to be put in there as a pass blocking back the entire time. Brady wasn't reliant. Brady was not hot last season. There were a lot of distractions in Tampa last season. Brady wasn't there with the team before the season started because little did we know he was getting divorced. There were so many things going on that made Leonard Fournette's very valuable years. He doesn't have many years left to excel in the NFL. And so making a move to a team that has a shared backfield, you put Leonard Fournette in Philadelphia. Now, again, this relies on who does decide to retire, who Philadelphia is able to keep. They had an incredible line, but we know some of those pieces will be leaving. There's question marks with Fletcher Cox, who's been a staple for the Philadelphia Eagles for a long time. You put Leonard Fournette in Philly, I'm all over that. He wants to be in a shared backfield. He doesn't need to be 100%, but he wants more opportunity. And I don't think he was vibing. I think there was something that dramatically changed this season. And there was a vibe, a missing link. And I think it's smart. He's a player that knows his career is coming close to an end. And why not roll the dice and try an opportunity that could work for you? It could not. But you already know this opportunity isn't getting any better. So I think he did the right thing. I think it's super smart. I love it.
Look, I love your answer. I hope you're right. I'm not anti-Leonard Fournette. I'm just perceiving the lay of the land here. I would have taken the bird in the hand. I had a bird in my hand, and I opened my hand. The bird flew away. Now I got to go try to find another bird. I would have taken the bird in the hand. But LA, look, I'm very conservative about investments. Okay, and that's what Fournette's doing here. It's a gamble. It's a roll of the dice. Right?
Listen,
there's some better out there for
you don't
me
bet
with a
on
winner.
yourself in this world, you never know. Like, it's a thing, right? It's a thing where it's like you become complacent. And when you're in a career that has a shelf life, when you know that there's going to be that turning point where it's like, it's done. This is done. This isn't something you could do for 20 years, 30 years. This is something you could take a break from and come back to. He's at that age where he knows, man, I got to roll the dice on myself before there's no more dice to roll. We're getting you ready for the upcoming baseball season with the Bettor Sports Fantasy Baseball Preview. From fantasy baseball to MLB betting and the newest baseball cards for 2023. You can access our exclusive content for free right now at bettorsports.com, featuring some of the best baseball minds in the industry like Adam Ronis, Ray Flowers, Kyle Elfrink, and Cody Decker. Get player profiles, prop bets, and futures, sleepers and busts, fantasy draft strategy, collectibles, and more at no cost. Register with your name and email at bettorsports.com right now to get instant access plus notifications when new features are released. I love this time of year in the NFL. Things are starting to happen. We're going to watch the draft. We're going to see the combine, and we're going to get reminded of how many moving pieces there are, how many things aren't the same as they were the year before. Coaching changes, player changes, team ownership changes, all of those things. There's always, what will Jerry do? What's going to happen with Zeke? Scouts saying that Zeke's legs are just done. I think that's an incredibly unpredictable situation. And I think Tony Pollard really gave him that edge to make him look bad. But Tony Pollard was helpful. I'm not opposed to the backfield being shared, but this is just such a cool time for a football fan when you get nothing to watch, but you get to learn about these young players. That this was Patrick Mahomes. This was one day we were talking about the players that we're looking at right now. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. These were players that we were learning about in the draft and now are part of our entertainment on Sundays during the football season.
We got some studs coming out, LA, at the skill positions. We've got some big time studs. Michael Mayer is a hotshot tight end. He is a Mark Andrews,
I hear this.
George Kittle type of guy. He is a Gronk type of guy. He is elite.
Elite.
I can't stress this enough. I freaking love Michael Mayer. Bijan Robinson. Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. If he is not the first pick in every single dynasty draft that we have this year, something's wrong. Something's wrong with your league. It's defunct. You might as well close it up. He is so fast, so elusive, so big, so durable. I mean, he is a 3-down back, LA. He might be a first-round pick as a rookie, depending on if he goes to Dallas. If they, say goodbye to Zeke and Tony Pollard goes to another team and they drop Bijan Robinson and he's the guy unfettered. Right?
I do not want to hear that. I do not want us to rip it apart and blow it up. We got to keep one or the other. Why can't we keep one or the other? Why do we have to get rid of both Zeke and Pollard?
You don't. Look, Zeke should. My advice to him would be whatever Jerry Jones wants to pay you, take it happily and play ball with the Cowboys, because nobody else in the league is going to holler at Zeke right now. He'd be a minimum salary guy, maybe $2 million, maybe $3 million. A goal line hammer, that kind of thing. But you've got an owner that loves you and trusts you and is loyal to you. No, and I know he wants to make more and a haircut and all that sucks, but you got to look yourself in the mirror and be self-aware and realize the clock is running out on my career. I got to stay here where my owner loves me and wants to pay me. It won't be what I actually want, but it's still going to be a better wage than anybody else can pay him. Pollard is a stud. I would love to see him back in a Dallas uniform, but there may be some big-time demand for him, LA.
I agree.
And Dallas may not be able to keep him. So then you draft Bijan Robinson. Okay. And then Zeke is on the team for another year, maybe 2. Boom. Bijan is your guy. So, but I don't know if they're going to do that. Philly at the end of the first round is definitely a candidate to take Bijan Robinson.
I think Bijan is the perfect pick for Philly. But again, you're dropping in a player that you're looking at a team and look how far they went last season. But we have to think about the pieces that are not going to be there next year as well. But I agree with you. I think Bijan, because what does Philly have? 10 pick, right? The first pick, 10th pick in the first round.
Let me go to my mock here.
I think it's number 10 in the first round.
They have 32 as well. They have 2 first-round picks. So let me take you into Bijan Robinson real quickly here in my mock draft. There are not a lot of teams, LA, in my opinion, that are going to be in the running back business in the first round.
No,
there are two teams that I think you look out for. It's Dallas and it's Philly. Okay, Philly goes at number 10. I have seen mock drafts where they have Philadelphia taking Bijan Robinson at 10. Okay, might happen. I don't think a running back's going to go that high, especially a Philadelphia team with Howie Roseman, who knows I have to be dominant in the trenches. Okay. Right. And Philly's about to not be dominant in the trenches, right? With the front 7 on defense, a ton of free agents. They're going to have maybe some turnover on their offensive line. And so I think he's going to make a trenches pick and take Brian Breesy, the awesome DT out of Clemson, and then pray that Dallas does not take Bijan Robinson at 27. I have Noah Sewell, linebacker from Oregon, going to Dallas at that spot. Van Der Esch is a free agent. You've got to get another inside linebacker on Dallas to track running backs. You have to address that. And Noah Sewell will be the best guy remaining at 27. That then would shift Bijan Robinson at 32 to Philly. But a lot of these teams, Detroit doesn't need a back. Seattle doesn't need a back. Baltimore doesn't need a back. Minnesota doesn't need a back. Buffalo might need a back, but I think they're going to go safety at 28. But I think the running backs are going to be kicked to round 2 and round 3. I do think Bijan will be the 1 first-round pick, but I think it will be later in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, this is where we get to really look at how this is all going to land, right? Talking of the quarterback conversation, we know that Derek Carr having another meeting with the New York Jets, also the Saints, also the Panthers. So the question here is, Derek Carr plays for the Saints or the Panthers in 2023?
I like that the Panthers are throwing their hat in this ring.
Yeah,
I was wondering why we weren't hearing about them when the reports were coming about New Orleans trying to trade for Carr, and then Carr's going to New York, and then Carr, Rappaport said, had a good visit with the Saints. That's still in play. Nothing from Carolina until now. Took this meeting with them. I believe it was yesterday. It might have been today. I don't think Carolina is going to get Derek Carr, but I'm glad we're talking about this because, Carolina, get in this, okay?
Yeah.
You don't, Matt Corral.
You have such a good defense. You need to really build. And Derek Carr is a serviceable quarterback for a team that has that good of a defense. He doesn't have to be putting up 4 touchdowns a game to win because the defense is going to keep the scoring down and he can just do Derek Carr things. He, to me, is not an exciting quarterback, but he's a serviceable quarterback. He's a veteran quarterback with a good presence, never on the wrong side of the field, never doing anything wrong. People really like him. He's very low key. He's one of those quarterbacks that, I remember seeing him, and I've heard other people say this as well. He's the one person that walks around Radio Row at the Super Bowl who's just casually dressed and by himself and just talking to people. Whereas, a lot of these guys have 8 people with them, 4 super hot PR girls. There's a team of people walking with him. It's a whole moving group. And then there's Derek Carr just kind of, walking around, chatting with everybody. So I think Carolina would be a great fit. I just don't think New York is a good fit for Derek Carr. I just don't think the cold weather is a good idea for Derek Carr.
I hear you. I do. So I like Carolina getting in on this.
Yep.
I just don't see Derek Carr in a Carolina uniform. I think the Saints are a better look for him. They're a team that I feel like has more upside than Carolina. I feel like Carolina's got some pieces, but I don't think they're a quarterback away. Now, New Orleans, they're more than just a quarterback away too. The Jets are literally a quarterback away. Okay. They have a good line, good skill players, good defense. They just need the QB. But like we've talked about, I think the Jets are going to trade for Aaron Rodgers. That then is going to shift Derek Carr to looking, that New Orleans thing is looking a little bit better. And I believe Carolina is going to take Will Levis in the first round of the draft. So I like that Carolina's in on Derek Carr. I just don't see him in that uniform.
Again with the Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. You sound like Greeny. Greeny has sold himself because he's such a Jets fan, a lifer Jets fan, that he has sold himself. When people come on and talk to him about it, he's like, oh, when Rodgers is. And it's hilarious because it's just hyperbole at this point. He did do a podcast yesterday, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays are over on McAfee.
What do you mean?
Season. He only
What do you
does them
mean?
during the football season.
Whoa.
He only does them during the
We have the decision of a lifetime coming up here. Let's get him on the show, right? Like maybe
he only
for like
does
a
them during
special
football
one-off.
season. His last episode. He'll visit sometimes during the summer, but he did do another podcast, and he did discuss the fact that when the time is right, which he won't make people wait a long time on what he wants to do, that he's making this decision, that he had really good time on both sides of the thought process in the dark room for 4 or 5 days when he was in the darkness, and that he's weighing this out. But I just don't, more and more people have come out in the past week and have been like, yeah, it makes no sense for Aaron Rodgers to leave Green Bay. Like now the dust is settling. Like this was all just like everybody blew this out of the water and everybody made this something they wanted to believe in. And I've been betting people left and right lately, just like, you take my money because there's no way this is happening. So I just don't think the Jets have a decision to make. They're still talking about Zach Wilson. What are they going to do there? There's still coach speak out there that he can come into himself as a quarterback. They still have White, they still have Mike White. I don't think they're in as much a conundrum. What are the Raiders going to do for a quarterback? They were sure they did not want Derek Carr, but who's the option for the Las Vegas Raiders?
Well, it might be Mike White. He's a free agent, but I think Jimmy G is going to go to the Las Vegas Raiders.
That's a good fit.
He's been linked to them. He's got the pass with Ziegler and McDaniels from the New England days. I think that's where they're going to go. Now, I think they overplayed their hand, like a la the Leonard Fournette conversation, thinking that they were going to upgrade off of Derek Carr, maybe into Brady, maybe into Aaron Rodgers. And I think they overplayed their hand. Again, for the 1 millionth time, Derek Carr would still be under contract for me if I were running the Las Vegas Raiders and doing a better job of it than the GMs they've had in there. But it is what it is. They bounced Carr. Now they don't have a QB. Stidham clearly is not the long-term or even short-term option. So I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to end up a Raider.
And that'd be a good fit when you're looking at Devontae Adams having more opportunity with a quarterback that we already know has an arm and has one, just does get injured a lot.
He does, and he throws interceptions at really bad times, but so does Derek Carr.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of separation, LA, between Jimmy Garoppolo and Derek Carr. There's really
maybe
not.
Just age, right? Derek
I'd
Carr's
rather
a
have
little bit
Carr.
older.
I just think Carr's a more talented thrower. I'd rather have Carr, but not by much. It's really kind of an apples to apples scenario. It's kind of a lateral move, honestly, right? Going from Carr to Garoppolo is kind of a lateral
By the
move.
way, Jeff just asked, and I'll get to this real quick. We've only got 2.5 more minutes left in the show. I joined late, but was wondering what you thought about Brandon Marchand giving Aaron Rodgers his retirement flowers before a decision has been announced. The way broadcasters, athletes, and people now speak, and then stories spread like that old school game of telephone where you tell a story and then it gets down the line and it's so. I watch this just spin around and everybody doing these things, and I love it so much because Aaron Rodgers only talks to a very exclusive group of people. And if it doesn't come out of his mouth, I don't believe it. So when I hear anybody else talk about him, I don't believe it. But when I hear he's done a podcast, I will listen to the whole thing because it's his voice. He has controlled the narrative of his voice like no other player I've ever seen in the NFL. And I'm here for it. I think it's fantastic. He trolls the media so hard in these conversations that he's having and just controls it all. I think it's brilliant. I think he's a smart dude. I don't care what he does. I just hope he's happy. I want to see him back on McAfee Tuesdays next year. It was so tough. They were off all week last week, and I barely even knew what time it is. Like, I only know what time it is by, the fact that the show is coming on at noon. I'm at YouTube watching the 4-minute countdown, which is going to be something new in the future for our viewers here at the Bettor Sports Network, which is pretty exciting, Rick.
That's very exciting. Do you think Brandon Marshall, because ball players talk, ball players are a fraternity, all right? And Brandon Marshall's an all-time great and Aaron Rodgers is an all-time great. Do you think Brandon Marshall has some inside information?
Hell no, because nobody would have it before AJ Hawk. Believe me, AJ and Aaron talk way more than he talks to Brandon Marshall. We are out of here. Thank you all for joining us. I won't see you next Wednesday. Everybody,
Be well, LA.
and
Be well.
Rick Kamla right here. I am out. Have a great week, everybody. Don't forget to follow all the other shows. Share the app with your friends. Follow on social media at Bettor Network. Our producers, Tyler and Anthony, totally rock. And let's go Mets. Baseball season coming up.